In a world where shadows hide behind the silver screen, one team dares to reveal the secrets. Dive deep with paranoid American Tommy Truthful and the rest of the Truth Mafia as they decode the hidden messages in movies we thought we knew. From ancient myths to modern politics, from Gematria to the darkest corners of the occult. Prepare to see cinema in a whole new light. Welcome to Conspiracy Cinema.
Welcome to Conspiracy Cinema Podcast. You're rocking with us Saturday night. I got my co-host, Paranoid American, with me. We're doing a special podcast tonight on the new Disney series, Loki. We're going to talk about season 1, the whole thing, season 2, and it ties into the manipulation of time. There's a connection to CERN there. So we're going to also get into the Norse mythology behind it. And I got a couple special guests for you guys today. Before we get going, all links are down in the description of this video. If you're new to our platform, you can join our membership and become a made member in the mob at the Truth Mafia. We need you in this information warfare. That link is down below. That gets you access to members-only videos, members-only lives, and, you know, all that good stuff. Me and Donut do a members-only video every week, every Thursday, so you'll be involved in that as well. And then if you're looking for a reading to find out if you are a first player character within this simulation we call life or a non-player character, that link is also down below. So let's get into it, guys. And without further ado, our guest, we got Logan from Decode Your Reality with cosmicsugar.org. Shout out to his website, JayDreamerZ, JayDreamerZ.com, and Paranoid American from ParanoidAmerican.com. All their links are down in the description. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Logan, hey, I'm so excited hey, Brother Jay, I'm so excited to have you on. You know, I think very highly of you. I think you're one of the best decoders out here, bro, for real. You know, you brought the elements to the game on the periodic table, and that just changed my life when it comes to decoding. And yeah, I was so excited when I reached out to you with this series because I just thought you would do an amazing job. I know you always go so deep looking into stuff in Loki. So how'd you like it? What'd you think of the series, brother?
Yeah, I thought it was there was a few episodes I really kind of I was like, The first 3 were good. Then I think the 4th and 5th one of season 1 was kind of The ending of season 1 was good. And then season 2 kind of, you know, was pretty interesting. I thought the whole storyline was very interesting since Loki is kind of the mercurial energy, if you're going to talk about astrology and astronomy for that matter. I thought it was a really interesting show. I mean, I broke it all down the way I kind of know how to do it. I just did a basic breakdown of it, and I'll be able to share it with everybody here that's watching.
That's awesome, brother. And yeah, I'm super excited to get into that. JayDreamerZ, what'd you think about Loki, bro?
I like it. There's still one more episode to go. And I broke down the first season, like on my Truth and Movies or whatever. And man, the second season was just like, I really like it. Like for me, it got so deep. You know what I mean? Like, and I got some stuff to like share on the screen and stuff too. But it was really good, dude. Like it really resonated with me, like on different levels, not just like entertainment or not. You know, it's sweet if something's entertaining, but if it has all the elements of like quintessential truths that, you know, echo and reverberate throughout time and prophecy and the future and stuff, then I'm hooked. I don't care how cheesy it is. It's freaking good, dude. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Paranoid, what was your thoughts? Because this is the critic here, my co-host.
No, I went in hating it. I went in like expecting to hate it. And there was a few things that I was like kind of making fun of it as I was watching it in my head. But overall, it's good series. Like I actually did enjoy it. I think it's got merit to it. Although I'll just say the criticism right off the bat is that they take a god and they turn it into like a cop show. Like essentially if you were to look at the formula, it's a cop show, right? They like every episode they kind of have to investigate, they have to do interrogations, they're constantly like going to arrest people and lock them up and bring them back to the jail cell. And like it's it's in like the time police area, but and so like that's a reason to maybe not like it, I guess. And that was me going in like, oh, it's a freaking cop show. But it got legitimately good, and they definitely broke away from that in season 2. And season 2 is my favorite when they bring in like the crocodile version of Loki and the girl version and the old man and the kid. Like I just love that's the best version of the multiverse garbage. Like I really am anti-multiverse. Kind of like the new South Park, where they're just like it's for writers to be super lazy and just create another dimension where this new limitation doesn't exist anymore because they want Wolverine to be a girl or whatever. You know what I mean? But this one legitimately is good because it's like these are a really cool selection of different Lokis, and these are not ones that they created just for the TV show. These were actually the multiverse Lokis in the comics. Just like Thor has like the weird moose dude. I know I don't have that right because I wasn't big on Thor and Loki, but this was legitimately good. So as much as I wanted to hate it, I liked it.
That's all. Yeah, that's awesome. And the multiverse is real. Little paranoid, but that's my opinion. I do believe we live in a multiverse with infinite realities. I really do. I think everything's interdimensional, and we definitely live in a simulation. The code proves it over and over and over again. The code proves it. Before we get into Logan's Decode, guys, I got a few things I want to share. The first thing I noticed was Loki. If you're looking at the Prime cipher, which I really don't use Primes a lot. I love Caldian. It's like one of the purest ciphers. I wrote a blog on it. It's 1 through 8. So it adds up to the 36 based on that 36 number. And the Chaldeans, through all my reading, they looked at the number 9 as like a divine number, and they took it out of the cipher. So I think the Caldian cipher is the purest cipher, but we just also added a new cipher to the Gematria calculator, guys, thanks to Logan. And it's the true pi. What's it called, Logan? I don't want to call it the wrong thing.
It's just the 3.144 pi cipher is kind of, I guess, the proper way to pronounce it. 3.144 pi cipher.
It's awesome, guys. And the Gematria calculator, the link is down in the description. And, shout out to Paranoid American because he took his time out, wrote the code, built that calculator for us. And he actually got that up in like a weekend. So he did a phenomenal job. In the Caldean cipher, we have the biggest database over. What is it, Paranoid? How many matches in that cipher?
Oh, I'll check while you're talking, actually.
I think it's like up to 30,000 or something. I forget the exact.
Yeah, I just had to relaunch it today for adding the new pi cipher, and it's by far bigger than any other database that I'm aware of online.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, guys. And
we got 32,000 phrases, and we've got well over 500,000 different calculated cipher values.
Yes, and we didn't get lazy with the coding. Our stuff actually adds up to what it's supposed to, because there's people out there changing their codes and doing all kinds of stuff behind the scene, which is crazy. But that link is down below, and check out occultdecode.com. He has some amazing stuff over there, guys, where you can follow the date calculator. And when we say code words during a podcast, because YouTube will take us down, every code word that we use is on occultdecode.com. You can type in the code word and it'll tell you what we're saying. So ain't that a pretty cool thing, Logan? With the whole code.
Love it, man.
Yeah. Dude, a Paranoid, he's a genius, bro. He comes up with some pretty cool stuff. But this 138 thing, okay, so there's this whole theory out here about these 138-year global resets. Shout out to Archaics. He has this theory on this, and it's pretty interesting. Logan did a podcast with him about the wiping of the board, Logan called it. And could you talk about this 138 a little bit, Logan?
Yeah. So I have another methodology that I'm coming out with for my Patreons, and it's called the Astro 360. And one day when I was kind of looking at astrology, it's a perfect circle. And so I took a 360-degree circle and I plopped it over the top of the astrological map. I played around with it, figured the 0 position would be at the rising sign of Aries. And when I did that and I started to look at the numbers, it was kind of mind-blowing. And if you look at the 138 marker on that 360-degree wheel, and you could just go all the way across from the 138, the number that you're going to get is the number 322.
Oh,
and so you have a connecting point on a 360-degree wheel of 322 and 138. So these are big markers. This is, I mean, I showed Bashir's and he was like, he didn't see it before. So, like this is where your skull and bones connection is, and the Phoenix Rising event and the whole 9 yards. And I would say everybody that is living out this reality will be part of the Phoenix event. It's a collective consciousness, the rising of the Phoenix.
Yeah. And I think so Loki is the one that he's released in the end times during Ragnarok. And I think there's a connection there with this whole 138 cipher, because Ragnarok sounds a lot like this event, which Jay calls the plasma apocalypse. And, people have different names for it. But it's to me, that was just fascinating. When I seen that, I hit you up instantly. And what you're talking about is this right here, right, Logan? The 138-322 connection.
Are you plopping it up? Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's the slide I created. I got more to go on that, but yeah, that's it right there.
Wow. Yep. I never even knew that connection, brother.
Yeah, dude, it blew my mind. And now I'm getting into, connecting these numbers to the astrological signs and the whole 9 yards. But, Ragnarok is Ra. It's got Ra right in there. Ragnarok. It's Ra. Ra's the sun god. And right now, currently where I'm at, brother, it looks like Jupiter's going to be Ra, man.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Because I had it pegged at like Saturn. I think it's a collective. I think the celestials, you could match them up as the archons for sure. And they all play a role. It's like an anthropomorphic being, if you will. But Zeus being the biggest planet in the canopy, Zeus being tied to the number 50, and 50 being tied to 50 Bitcoin. It's the 50 is a big deal, and I'm going to show you the guy Jonathan Michael Majors, who played the basically the demiurge in Loki. His birthday is on day number 251, and that is tied directly to Jupiter, straight up. So he's literally playing Jupiter.
Wow, that's his role in it, Jupiter.
Yep.
And
the demiurge.
That 50 number is so important right now. The situation that took place in Hawaii was in the 50th state. We're in the 50-year anniversary since the Yom Kippur War and everything going on over there in the Middle East. And then it's also the 50-year anniversary of hip hop this year. So this year,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very prevalent to that 50 number. So, Jay, what do you think about it being connected to that? People are reporting, Jay, there's 2 suns in the sky and all this. And I made this with AI, so that's not a real sun. It was just for the slide. Now, but this one is real. People are talking about 2 suns are in the sky. And my theory on that, Jay, and it could be totally off, maybe as they're opening this other portal, right? The ancients would talk about the 8-pointed star, the star of Inanna, the star of Ishtar that we see in Las Vegas, where the Super Bowl is going to be this year. This 8-pointed star would open up in the sky, and then entities would come through it. And I've traced that 8 to CERN, has the 8 bars surrounding it. In front of the Vatican, there's the 8 spokes on the wheel, Inanna's name in cuneiform. We see the 8. The star card, which is connected to 50 Cent, Logan, it has the 8 on it. We see all throughout ancient Babylon, they had this 8. And I mean, you can find it connected to portal symbolism in the Union Jack. the Ishtar star. So there's a heavy connection to Nibiru with this 8-pointed star, and I think Nibiru is Dimension X. I think it's all interdimensional, and they're opening up a portal. And as that portal is opening, that's why we're seeing the second sun. Because my theory is the organic sun is a portal to other realms, higher realms. But this is just a theory of mine. We've seen that 8-pointed star as well in the Order of the Dragon, which is connected to Dracula and Vlad the Impaler, his father that controlled all that. So also, I don't have a slide for it, but on top of Mount Hermon, where the 200 fallen angels allegedly descended, there is a UN building up there. And there is a giant 8-pointed star on top of that mountain, right on the UN outpost, Jay. So I'm thinking it's connected to some type of dimension, some portal they're opening up. What do you think about that, bro?
About the 8-pointed star?
Yeah, the 8-pointed star. Why the people are reporting there's 2 suns in the sky now, and the whole connection to the 138 with these global resets. I think it all ties together.
So I just want to apologize. There's a train going by my house right now. I don't know if it gets too loud.
No, I can't hear it.
Good. Okay. So the 8-pointed, for me, that star there's many different ones of those. There's 8-pointed, 7-pointed, 4-pointed, or whatever. Like for me, that circle, there's a double circle up in the sky, is the firmament. Basically, it's a portion of the firmament. And when it shows the star portion of it, or like all those different lines that come out of it or whatever, that's plasma that's coming out of the actual firmament from the plasma sphere up there with it on the other side, really. But the firmament sort of splits the plasma in two. So we have the auroras on the inside, and we have like the ionized hydrogen on the outside. So whenever the sky blows open, or the atmosphere depressurizes, it blows a hole up there in the sky, we go through the neutral point of the polarity shift, which makes the barrier, the protective shield, the magnetic shield around our world fall, or it dissipates. It just goes away, which releases the Kraken, literally and actually. And Cthulhu comes down, and all those tentacles of freaking plasma, they come down. What was I talking about? Oh, the star. So anyways, that's the star that people see up there in the sky.
Yeah, they say it opens up when this portal would open up within the sky. And shout out to everybody doing the super chats. Antonio, thank you. Eric, thank you, brother. And I seen Eric say I should get a free membership. Eric, you're more than you're right. You should. You always donate and show love. So hit me up, brother. You got my cell phone number, and I'll take care of you with that. So this 17 card in the tarot deck is also, if I'm not mistaken, Logan, is it the 17th card, brother?
Yep.
And Nibiru is 17 in Caldian. So you think there's any connection there, bro?
Yeah, there could be. I mean, the 8-pointed star, that star behind that card on the that card right there, the star, it could just be the sun, right? It could be either Sirius or the sun, but remember 19 is the 19 is the 8th prime number, and so the 19th card in the tarot is the sun.
Wow.
So you have the sun, then the moon, then the star card, and the star card, this represents Earth, and you become the star of the movie, right? The movie star, rock star, whatever. And so when you look at the tarot cards, the 19 and through mathematics, this is 19th card and the 8th card. 19 is the 8th prime number. And you see that woman right there is taming the lion. The lion is, of course, Leo. Leo is the 5th house of astrology, and it's ruled by the sun, right? So clearly the lion is being tamed by the woman there, right? Which is Mother Earth, I would imagine. You got the infinity symbol over her head, et cetera, et cetera. But, there's a lot of things that pertain the number 8 to be tied to Lucifer, right? Because which I've shown before, the sigil of Lucifer, here's the 8 of diamonds, which is one of Lucifer's cards directly. You could fit the Lucifer sigil right over the top of those 8 diamonds right there. If you know what the Lucifer sigil looks like, you can see how the sigil fits right over the top of that number 8.
Wow,
Right.
that's fascinating.
Right. And of course, the sun and the moon both make that analemma shape. They make that pattern 8 in the sky.
Oh wow! And in Norse mythology with Loki and them, okay, so in most occult connections, the sun is that male, masculine energy. The moon is the female,
Feminine.
feminine energy, but not in Norse mythology. In Norse
Okay.
mythology, the sun was the girl, and the moon is the boy.
Okay.
I found that pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yep.
Well, you brought up Loki in the primes, right? 138.
Yes.
So I just went and I typed in Thor, and Thor's 198. Thor being kind of Loki's brother. And when you divide the two, 138 divided by 198, you get 0.69. You get the yin yang.
Oh wow!
So who do they cast to play Thor? Christopher Hemsworth, and then they casted Thomas to play Loki, which was the twin brother of Jesus, Michael.
Yeah.
Christopher, right? Christopher Hemsworth has blonde hair. Loki's got dark hair.
Wow, that's crazy. That's my name, Thomas, which means twin.
Yeah, your name's Thomas. Yeah, Thomas, right? So
Twin.
there's a lot of Thomas. Lucifer, they casted to play Lucifer on Netflix. His birth name is Thomas John Ellis Hooper.
Whoa.
That's wild because of Thomas the twin. And I'm also in the back of my mind when I was watching some of this, and because we're talking about tarot already, we're already into the depths. And the concept of tetragrammaton that I've been trying to understand lately, and that's basically the male entity joins the female entity. The father joins the mother, and they have twins, and those twins are the ones that represent the final cycle where it goes back into the loop again. And here we've got Thor and Loki being the twins. Does that mean that Thor is the masculine and Loki is perhaps like the feminine in that aspect, since it was Loki, Hermes, other words that I don't know if we can say.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could chalk it up anyway. I thought was, what I think the big takeaway for that whole show was Loki's, sidekick, Sophie, and it was just like an addition to him, like kind of like a shadow of him, if you will, and
Yes.
the lady who casted to play that, by the way, Thomas Middleton and her name's Sophia Martin. When you do their numerology together, it's 138.
No way.
Yep.
And yeah,
names 138.
For anybody that hasn't watched it, in this, it's all about the manipulation of timelines and the sacred timeline, and you have these variants. So one timeline, there's a variation of yourself, and then another timeline, there's a different variation of yourself. And another thing I found very interesting, all time was happening at once. 1994 was taking place when 2022 was taking place. So I think there's something to that as well, with the whole everything is simultaneously happening right now as we're speaking, the past, the future, and the present. Do you think so too, maybe, Logan?
Well, here, I'll ask you to do this for me since you got the share screen ability. Go type in on a search engine lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt?
Yes, lightning bolt, and just pull it up on the screen so everybody can see that.
Okay, 1 second.
Just Google it, lightning bolt, on a black background.
I hope you pull up a picture of Jolt Cola.
Yeah, there you go. I remember that stuff.
Just normal lightning bolt, right?
Yeah, just a lightning bolt. Plop it up full screen on there so everybody can see.
Let me share my screen. Entire screen. Boom. Share. There we go. Is it opening? Oh, there we go. All right. Lightning bolt. This is what it took me to.
Doesn't matter. Anyone will do.
The image of it is what you need?
Yeah, right there. That's it. Maybe go down what has more branches on it. Maybe click on one that has more. That's got more branches coming off. That's your timeline right there. That's your timeline. And what is Zeus known for? He's the god of thunder, lightning.
Yep.
So they cast this guy Jonathan Michael Majors to play the last man standing and being the demiurge, which he is, and his days tied right to Jupiter. His birth card is the 30th card in the deck, the 4 of diamonds, which is tied to the word demiurge and Jehovah. So there you have it.
Oh wow! And that 30 cipher, I just did one, Logan, which that's crazy you mentioned 30 because I just did one. It's over on truthmafia.com. Me and Ani Asoru, and we were talking about like the whole vampire and reptilian thing. And when you look at that 30 cipher, vampires is 30.
Yep.
You know, it's like that. We weren't talking about real vampires or real we were talking about like interdimensional psychic type vampires that suck that energy off you, that loose energy, that energy harvesting. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So is there a lot in that 30 cipher, Logan?
Yeah, I mean, the Santa Claus is 30. The whole representation of Santa Claus is the demiurge coming down the chimney, down the lightning rod, down the pole to play the game of life. 30 is, Jehovah, demiurge. The word role play is 30, which is, how I stand on that. People are being role played. The word feedback, like your brain giving feedback, is 30. 30 is 30 is tied right to Lucifer as well, because it's tied to the son of the morning. That's tied right to the 30 as well.
Holy cow. I wish I'd have known all that during that podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
That's another one that another one you taught me about that I'm so thankful for. I never knew about it because whenever I would talk about the Matrix, there's other teachers out there that I think a lot of people are using way too many ciphers when they decode.
Agreed.
You should probably stick to one or two. I like using Caldian and Latin. Them two are probably my favorite. But Caldian's definitely my favorite. But so when I first started, I would just look at ordinal, which ordinal's okay too. It's based on the
ordinal's
English
great.
Yeah, A is 1, B is
English
2,
is
C
great.
But when people start using all these other ones like together, it's like you can make anything connect. You know what I mean? And so this one, I was always looking at that 118 cipher, but then with the whole matrix thing, there's a huge connection to 31. And I found this fascinating, Logan. In squares, the matrix is 2040. And that's when they talk about that Phoenix phenomenon 2040. So
yeah. Well, the 118, that 118 is amazing because not only do the 3 founding members, their names from XRP equal 118, but the 118 is tied to the element tin, which is the 50th element on the periodic table. It's one of its atomic weights. It's actually its average atomic mass is 118.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just goes back to Jupiter. Jupiter. 24 is tied to Jesus. Jesus is 24 in the Greek.
There's the new pi cipher, guys, right there.
Nice.
Thanks to Paranoid American, he added it, so it's on.
When we're on the elements, I got a quick question. Like, do you ever break down chemical formulas, like notation? So, for example, like H2O, right? Does that ever turn into 820 or 8219 or something?
Yeah.
Those or
yeah. When you kind of add everything up, it's called the molar mass. So H is hydrogen. Two hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So you can take the 1.008, which I just round up now, 1 and 1, which is 2, and then oxygen is 16. So you have 18 there. And next thing you know, you have H2O, water, being tied to Jesus because Jesus equals 18. And, that's obviously very important because I feel that that's what we're all playing out, is just having a Jesus Christ superstar experience. Water is the primary base fundamental of being a human being, right? Blood, fluids, all water.
Wow, that's fascinating. And guys, over here, when you're on the Gematria calculator, you'll see it says powered by Occult Decode. That's my boy Paranoid American. He has the date calculator over here. Say you're looking for a date, right? And you hit this after you look for a date, you hit the moon. That'll show you what all events took place on this date. So down here, you say 37 of 99, right? You hit that moon, it'll show you every historical event that took place on that date. And that's pretty cool. There's not too, I don't know anyone else doing that. And then the banned word list, Paranoid, you need to add T-Rex. I sent you a message about it. Don't say it online, but yeah, that has to
What
do
the
with
hell does T-Rex mean?
shout out to the rainbow is all I'm going to say.
What does that mean? Ban wordless. What is that?
So these are all words you cannot say on YouTube, or your video will be taken down. Certain words. Or it'll
Serious?
definitely, yeah, they'll be demonetized anyways.
Like
Yeah.
if you wanted to say the name of a certain German leader from the 40s.
Yeah, we got all the code words here for it. Or yeah, it's pretty cool. You'll have to check it out, Logan. It's pretty interesting. Like the one I just said, which we need to add, T-Rex.
Why are we throwing shade on T-Rex though?
No, it just sounds. Me and Ani came up with it in our podcast we were doing, and I messaged you instantly. It has to do with the rainbow, and I think you get my drift there. And we're not talking about time, because the rainbow is also connected to time. And look into the Rainbow Bridge, which is very fascinating with Loki and everything, because they had that bridge that took them to it went from, what was that bridge called again? Was it the Bifrost Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay, the Bifrost Bridge. That's it, it looks like a rainbow in there, right? And that's what kind of led into Asgard, and the guy that was controlling that bridge right there, he could send them to different universes, remember? He had like them Hawkeyes. I can't remember his name, but yeah, that bridge. I tried to get AI to create me an image of it, and it kind of did not listen to me. It just created a bridge with a rainbow above it.
That's kind of cool, though. I like it.
It is still pretty cool.
That's really cool. I like it.
Yes, but it's pretty fascinating with all that stuff. And another connection I had before we let you guys do your breakdowns was this one. It goes deep. This was the deepest I went with it. So I went down a kind of crazy rabbit hole here. And I looked at Loki, right? In the Sumerian cipher, Loki, fire god, is 666, matching dark matter, the whole CERN connection. iPet Goat 2 is also in that cipher, which if you watch iPet Goat 2, guys, it's all about CERN predictive programming in it. And then computer is 666, right? Well, the first computer was sold for $666. And 666 doesn't mean what you think it does anyways. It's they bastardize it and invert it. It's not actually a bad number, but that's neither here nor there. So this computer released January of 1977. So I'm like, okay, let me see if there's a connection to that year with Loki anywhere. So I go look, and there's this comic book, Paranoid American, which was comic book 261, right? 261. So I said, when did it release? And it released April 12th of 1977. I took from that date until the series Loki released on Disney, and that gave us 529 months, which the secret code decode in Latin, which is Jewish Gematria, is, or Hebrew, I'm sorry, 529, matching the origin of aliens. And that's what him and his brother kind of are, right? They're aliens from this other reality. And then Ragnarok is 529, which was just the most famous Viking in the whole world. He was a king. He was in that series Vikings, if you guys remember that, Ragnar Lothbrok. I mean, he was the most famous Viking ever. And then Radiation Rising is 529. And I'm like, okay, wait a second. In the series of Loki, if you guys remember episode 4, that He Who Remains, he goes outside to try to fix it, and the radiation was too high, and it literally destroyed him. Remember, he just went into he tried to run out there, and he just disappears because the radiation was so high. And I think that radiation has to do with this plasma event too, where it's rising up. But that comic book 261, so 261 in Latin is God of Time. And what does it say above the doorway where he runs out and gets destroyed by the radiation? all time, for all time, always. For all time, always is what it says. And the god of time, Saturn, the whole connection to time manipulation, the sacred timeline. I don't know, Logan. What do you think, brother? I thought that was kind of cool connection, anyways.
Badass, man. I mean, I broke down Apple computers and the whole 666.66, 666.66 equals 30. That's demiurge. It's also the weight of phosphorus, which is the 15th element, which is Lucifer's element. The word Apple's 25. Lucifer, Thomas John Ellis's birth card is the 25th card in the tarot. Guy they casted to play Lucifer. Yeah. And then the big thing I see at the bottom there, the comic books. Like, how do they get this right? Like, think about this, right? Okay, so it's 529 months you got there between when Thor comes out and Loki. Well, 529 is one digit more than 528. You know that famous solfeggio hertz, 528 hertz frequency?
Yeah.
Well, I had this guy Michael that I'm kind of collaborating with send me this video on. You ever seen those cymatic platforms where they put sand on them and they play the frequency through them?
Yes.
You've seen those? Well,
some of that stuff before with the water.
Yeah. So if you go, I was messing with it and some guy had it online and I was going through, he had like from 200 to like 700 and something. And I stopped around 528. And what was the shape that was made on the square? Freaking a damn chessboard.
No way.
Yep. So what does that tell you? That the 528 frequency, which is the 500, it's all Jupiter. That is the prison. It's the chessboard. It's duality. It creates the duality. So you're not only connecting the 529 months to duality and Loki and Thor, but you're connecting it straight to Jupiter.
Whoa. Great connection, bro. And then the whole time manipulation. You see Loki, Fire God 666, Dark Matter, computer. Where was the internet created? At CERN by Tim Berners-Lee. Berners-Lee on 1989. What I think the actual date, they say between 1989 and 1990, but if I'm not mistaken, the actual date was in 1989 when he created it at CERN. So I think like this whole D wave, the new one they just released in 2017, the 2000 Q, all this is plugged into CERN. It's all plugged into some other reality. I don't understand what they're doing with it, but there's definitely something going on there with the manipulation of time and opening up portals, to other realities.
That's dope, man.
You like that one?
That's really awesome.
I got Loki opening up portals to his family. That because he's from a giant, remember? Yep. And this reminded me when I created this image, I was thinking of what Logan said on a podcast before. We were talking about Cabin in the Woods, and me and Jay were just talking about this the other night. We said we got to decode it, but Logan was talking about how these ancient giants that live under us that we have to appease, like in Cabin in the Woods, or they will come up. Remember that conversation we had, Logan?
Yep.
That was one of the most fascinating things you ever told me, dude.
Yeah, it's really science fiction-y, right? I mean, it's kind of really far out there, but that's what they were kind of alluding to in that movie. I broke that down, Greatest Show on Earth, Decoded. I broke down the whole timestamps of when they were saying things, the actors, and there's just no way that the producers and directors and whoever's doing the editing can exactly stop and edit and get these words to come out exactly on these timestamps. There's no way. It's impossible.
No way. Yeah, I love it. What do you think about some super AI controlling everything?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. But dude, it would be controlling me too, because I'm constantly looking at and seeing the same patterns in my life. I'm not connected to any quantum computer that I know of.
No, it's controlling all of us.
Yeah,
but
it has to be
controlling us through some quantum reality, through some God computer, some supercomputer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Technology we don't really understand. Kind of like in that Black Mirror episode. But I got a theory that I think them entities underneath us might be real, dude.
Oh, for sure. I got them pegged as real.
Yeah. I think they might be real, dude. And Jay, what we were talking about, how they had to do them sacrifices in Cabin in the Woods, or the giants would come up, remember? And
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be something to that, bro. Like that's what's really going on with humanity. They got to keep doing these certain rituals or to appease these ancient ones that Gordy Rose talked about. He said, with the D-Wave quantum computer, we're summoning the Lovecraftian old ones. Remember that? It's like, dude, what are you talking about right there? What are them? That's what I want to know. What the heck are them things? And then the leader of Google also mentioned the ancient ones. He said he was microdosing and in contact with the ancient ones. It's like, what the heck are they dealing with?
When Charles Babbage, one of the forefathers of computers too, he admitted that when he was a kid, he tried summoning demons because that was just the way that his mind worked. And I don't know why there's this very consistent correlation with people that are in these huge leaps, quantum leaps of technology that also just happen to summon demons at some point.
Yeah, it's something they're playing with. I don't know what they are, but I think something underneath of us is real. I don't think they're from a faraway star system. And then with the whole plasma apocalypse thing, that Jay talks about how there were giants in that time, which I think it was due to more oxygen or something, wasn't it, Jay?
It's probably various things that contributed to gigantism and the return of gigantism when it comes back. One of those is the depressurization of the atmosphere. And then the other one is also the increase of oxygen as the world. I mean, not just oxygen, there's many different chemicals and different gases that are released from the earth. And some that we get from above too. And then whenever the dome seals back up, it traps all that in here as the world continuously for an age fills with fresh new chemicals. So we get a 2 or 3 times as much oxygen, leading to huge insects and, plant life. There'll be a different color spectrum. So the plants will grow bigger too.
Like fertilizer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like fertilizer. It would be like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Basically.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, that's exactly what it'll be like. Cause all the plants and stuff, they grow very quickly. And then children born into that age, they'll grow bigger and bigger and bigger, but we will remain the same size, relatively speaking, as the world around us very quickly grows gigantic. Like you're in, what was that? Super Mario 3 world number like 8 or something. It was like the giant world where you're tiny. You know what I'm talking about?
It was like either world of 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was one of those type of situations.
So now we're talking like Honey, I Blew Up the Baby sequel.
Yeah. And I have some stuff to share too when you're ready about since you guys mentioned the old ones like Lovecraft and stuff too. I can tie that into the movie as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll go. I'll go now. I'm going to go through each one of you guys. Let you do your breakdown. We'll start with Brother Logan.
I'll go last, man. Let everybody. I've been doing most of the talking, so let Jay or
Jay,
Tommy.
you want to go, brother?
Yeah, I'm ready. Ready? You get ready? Get your mind blown away?
Yeah, blow it, man. Let's see what you got.
And if you got a slide,
give us the good.
If you got slides, Jay, you can present it, brother.
I got slides. Let me do the presentation thing. Share screen for POW.
And somebody in the comments said, where can I check dates? And that I put the link in the description. It's occultdecode.com. It's really a great site, guys. Paranoid American did a fabulous job with it. And, just building that calculator, Ani just put it on his website. Ani started his website, Nagaverse.tv, guys. Nagaverse.tv. So it's awesome. The Whole Truth Mafia can use the technology and use it on their sites. It's just amazing thing, man.
All right, check this out. So back to the movie Loki. This is the symbol. One of my very first YouTube, actually, I think it was my first YouTube video I ever made, was breaking down the symbolism that I saw in the Colorado State Seal. Because that's where I live, so I see it all over the place, right? And that's when I really started getting into symbolism. And then as I was breaking down the symbolism of each element within the Colorado State Seal, I realized I'm looking at a hieroglyph. I realized that this isn't just pretty pictures or symbolic elements randomly thrown together. It's a message. And that message is so iconic that it's stamped in certain areas where it needs to be stamped or whatnot. or presented in front of people, right in front of them. But the people that don't speak the the language of images, and can tap into like that realm, don't understand it. It's like a dream to them. They're just to see gibberish. They're just like, oh yeah, I guess it could be this. I guess it could be that. So I'm going to break this logo down. This is the Time Variance Authority.
Oh,
So this is the space cops in the show Loki, basically, right? They're out there trying to keep order in the cosmos or in the heavens, you could say. So check this out. This bothered me. Like, this symbol bothered me. It presented a riddle purposefully in my face throughout the whole series. I'm like, all right, let's check this out. So, let's see, where do I want to get first? Let me just see what the next one here is. All right, so obviously this is a face, right? You flip it upside down and you still get a face. So this way, it's one type of a face with like a tongue sticking out at you.
whoa.
This way, it's like a Roman soldier kind of a deal, little spike at the top or whatever, but it's made to look like a face with eyes right there and the nose and the bridge of the nose and all that type of stuff, right? So one way it's a face, one type of face. One way it's another type of face. So I'm going to break this down and I'll explain to you why.
Yeah, that looks like Kali. That first way you showed with the tongue sticking out, the goddess Kali.
That's what it is. That is Kali. You're looking at Kali. Every god that sticks their tongue out, this is them.
Yeah, Kali, she is pretty crazy god too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna come back to the sticking the tongue out thing, because there's a quintessential origin to that, and where that comes from. It's not humans. Okay, it's not humans just trying to tease other humans or whatever. So we got one way, we got another way. I'm gonna start with this glyph right here on the top. So you see that? If I put it the other way, you can see it's sort of the handle for the sword there.
Right.
See, there's like a sword piercing through this, whatever that is. All right, this glyph right here at the top is an actual Egyptian hieroglyph. And I did a breakdown in my movie Stargate where we broke down many of the hieroglyphs that you're looking at on the screen right now. This was one of them. It means sky. So the guy's pointing right at it. You can see it right here. It's the exact same glyph, and it means sky. It's a picture of the sky in ancient Egyptian. And
wow.
It's not a spoken word any longer. It's called a determinative. It's just a picture to give you context to the glyphs before it. But it's spelled PT. So if you were to say this, it would be Ptah, or similar to Ptah, the creator god, and Pater, which means father, or Peter, etc. And then there's other like Greek words, many Greek words that start with PT, actually, like Ptolemy's name. A lot of people probably think of that. Now, under the sky, or the glyph of the sky, we have this image right here, which on the surface you might think it's, just a, you could interpret this as many different things, right? But what matters to me is when you take all of these known elements and you put them together, you get context for what each individual element likely represents. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the top element represents the sky. This element right here, you could say, is infinity, right? And somebody in my chat totally hit the nail on the head, NJ Jeep Girl, who said it's a Z pinch. Now it's specifically drawn like this bow tie shape, okay? Because this is totally the bow tie symbolism. That's why so many characters are represented, or they wear a bow tie or whatever. This represents knowledge. It's the hourglass as well. It's hourglass symbolism. This is the god of time. This is the hourglass. But specifically in plasma physics, because let's think about this. If this is the sky in all of this, right? Then we can assume that anything under that represents something earthly, right? Underneath the sky, these would be encapsulated under the sky in our world, in our physical, actual world. So this time image, this bow tie, this Z pinch is plasma. It represents Mercury. It represents Loki. It's the light of the world, etc. I'll get into that more in just a second. But in plasma physics, it's called a Z pinch. And it says here, it's a type of plasma confinement system that uses an electrical current in the plasma to generate a magnetic field that compresses it. So it's self-contained plasma, and this is where it all comes together. It forces itself together in like a little knot, you could say. And it says here in a the Z-pinch is an application of the Lorentz force, in which a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field experiences a force. So all that means is that there's plasma, and whenever you apply electricity through it, that there's another force that's acting upon that plasma. So basically it's spinning around, it's spiraling. And this is where it comes together as it pulsates like a frequency, right? This is an image from the Thunderbolts project. They did a really good thing that's all about this. It's speculating that stars are actually born in what they call Z-pinches or whatever. I have my own cosmology, so I don't totally agree with that. But I see the truth in that, which is that the stars are born in the Z-pinch. The Z-pinch is like the center area right there. I talk about the blue beam that shoots up from Mount Meru. That's represented by the sword. So this, I made all these kind of blue because they're basically all blue. But you can see that there's the sword, right? The hilt is the sky. There's a beam that shoots up from the ground, or an opening really in the ground, because you can see that beam goes through the bottom portion down here. And there's this blue beam that shoots straight up into the sky, right? That blue beam determines time. It determines how we keep track of time. From the point at which that blue beam of energy, or terrestrial energy that shoots up and branches out and spreads its arms up to the heavens, and it's hung on the cross, and it has a circle above it being the one eye up in the sky symbolism, and it feathers out, creating the thunderbird and the phoenix and various types of magical giant birds and stuff of creation. That beam shoots up terrestrially and then hits the dome up there at the top, right? And so this is how people start and stop significant calendar events, like the beginning of all creation type events, right? And then it can be interrupted whenever we go through various reversals of electromagnetism. So when this beam goes up, that's the beginning of the new age. The day that beam is born, the day this light is born into the world, that is the start of time officially, or the start of a new age, right? Or a new way of life here on Earth. The moment that beam retracts and goes back down, that's the end of that age. And then they will start their new age from the moment that the beam retracted or died or went, into the earth. And then they will end it when it reappears, which is what we're currently waiting for. All right. So next up, we've got the sky. We've got the flow. It's an up and down flow too. That little hourglass, you can see it's connected. It's a circuit. That's how Yggdrasil is too. So like we were talking before the stream about Yggdrasil, and there's 3 different creatures that live on Yggdrasil. One of them is this type of squirrel.
Yeah.
It runs up and down. It goes back and forth because that beam creates a circuit, and then there you can see plasmoids and little plasma balls like going up and down. Or angels, you could say.
No one, I would have never caught this. That's amazing catch you did, brother. And them 2 leaves, you see how they wrap around? That's a representation of Saturn too, if you look into the symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I wonder if there's a tie there to the whole thing with the plasma apocalypse. You talked about Saturn before and that energy.
Yeah, there totally is. So we'll check the next one. So you can see you turn it one way, right? This is sticking out its tongue at you. So this is mocking. So this would be seen as evil, the evil face, the bad guy face. This is right side up. That's more of like a soldier type, Spartan type look or whatever you want to say. So we would say that would be like the good guys. It all depends on your perspective. If you're from below or if you're from above looking down on an object, this is exactly like the Transformers logos. At least the original ones back in the 80s, like you would rub it to see if it was a good guy or bad guy, and a little image, it's right side up or it's upside down.
Yeah, I remember that. And guys, hit that like button. We got almost 1,000 people in the live right now. Shout out to everybody. Smash that like button. We love y'all. Go ahead, Jay. My apologies.
So you can see it's the exact same image. It's just inverted, right? So I've superimposed it on top of this, and it's the exact same image. I actually broke this Transformers image down in my Truth in Movies for the Transformers Rise of the Beast or whatever it's called. And then here's the other one, right? And then we take a look at it again. You notice the eyes. There's 2 dots to either side of the blue beam that shoots up into the air, right? This gives us the eyes of the owl, or, you know, they're seen as the eyes of many different things. But in plasma physics, these are little toroidal instabilities that branch off from the main beam that shoots up off to the side. It creates eddies because it's up there in liquid, basically, which is the atmosphere. It's, you know, it's type of liquid or whatever. So it's just swirling around just like it would be underwater, but it's up there in the atmosphere, and it creates those eyes off to the side, just like you can see down there on the bottom. This one is done in a lab, computer simulations. These are actual rock drawings of these eyes, these weird, strange owl eyes. And this is the owl symbolism too, because many of these gods and goddesses, like for example, Loki, to me, Loki represents the blue beam that I was talking about, but he has two aspects to him, which is the male and the female. In one age, he's up, he's in our world. And in another age, he's missing and he's gone, etc. In one, he's seen as the masculine. In one, he's seen as the feminine. When he's the feminine, he's Sophia, which is the goddess of wisdom, which is this goddess that holds up the shining light of the world.
Who created Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, right? Sophia. Didn't she, Logan, create the demiurge?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought so.
So you can see all these different people drew this after the apocalypse. These are rock carvings the world across where people were drawing strange atmospheric phenomena that they saw, right? So back to the image here. You see this in the Mayan calendar. Same exact type of thing, right? So here, I'll show you the image, right? Boom. That's basically...
Wow, and the eyes on this one look even more like those plasma sort of graphs that you were just showing.
Right. Watch, I'll turn it upside down.
And this is such a great catch. And, you know, it just goes with the whole... because I didn't know at first, I was thinking, am I reaching with this whole plasma symbolism and the 138? But now that I see everything coming together, and I had no idea what Jay presented, I have no idea what Brother Logan presented. You know, we all do our own decodes, and then we come together and share them with you guys. So we don't know prior to the podcast. It's just pretty fascinating.
Now, on one way, either way, this represents the Earth. Okay, so on one side, this helmet portion right here represents the dome or the firmament up in the sky, and then you can see the blue beam shooting up through it, going up to the top, and then these I think they're laurel leaves. This would represent I don't know what kind of leaves. I think those are laurels, but I can't remember. But this would represent the plasma. You know, a part of the branch of the cosmic tree of life that's wrapping around the firmament right now, which is what modern academics calls the plasmasphere, which is right next to the magnetosphere, appropriately, because the magnetics actually keep it away. They're repelled from one another. And then you can see it here in the movie. So this right here, there's a lot of elements right here. Basically, this is on the floor, and you see the image on the floor. Okay, there's this ball right here that was hanging up above it, and it's all symbolic and stuff. This ball crashes down, hits this image and cracks it, but this image is right in the middle. Okay, this image basically represents, if you want to know what the message is, this image represents all of time. It represents the beginning and the end. It represents the two different cycles that we go through, shifting back and forth as we go from apocalypse to apocalypse. This is the sky that you're looking at. So sometimes the movies play with our perspective. We know that this is on the ground because it's the floor or whatever, but to some, the ground is the sky, and the sky is the ground. In the ancient myths and legends and stuff, there's an underworld, there's a world above us, etc. But this is segmented. You can see, some of you guys probably already noticed, it's got 12 segments representing the zodiac. Right,
and Jay, also the orange, just the color orange, that connection, orange is 33. And if you look into my Ember decodes, which season 2 came out during the Ember months or the Amber months, which is September, October, November, December, each one of them word have Ember in it. Kali, look at the Ember decode up on truthmafia.com, guys. It's all about the color orange and the goddess Kali. And right there, you have a representation of both of them together. So that's kind of interesting as well. Sorry, Jay.
Yes. No, you're good. So the orange, for me, the orange harkens to the golden age, or the age of actual golden color. Whenever there was altogether different light sources or suns. And then in today's world, we sort of put those into an amalgam, and like we make one god out of them because we only see one sun in our sky today. But that's what that ball sort of to me represents or whatever. But anyway,
Look, it's emitting light too.
Yeah. So this would be, it doesn't have to represent our sun or the point of focus up in the sky. It could represent other suns that used to exist, but it cracks the sky, and you can see this is the wheel in the sky right here. You'll always notice this. It's a circle, and then it's a larger circle outside of it. And then sometimes in the ancient religions, they'll draw the 8-pointed star like you guys were talking about, or 6-pointed, or however many different points it has. It just depends on how much time has passed, because that number of tentacles or plasmoids or plasma strands or whatever you want to call them, they come out of the sky. There's more as time goes forward. But this is a crack in the sky. This is a warning. And this is how the movie starts. This is how many movies start. They'll crack. Usually it's glass. They'll break glass. Usually it's a window or something. That symbolically is kicking off the apocalypse symbolism. But this represents the sky, the different separations up there. And then he's talking to this dude, and his name's Ouroboros. Remember that guy?
Yep.
And he says he hopped into a mail cart. Oh, they're on the radio. He says he hopped into a mail cart and descended into the lower level. So if Loki represents that blue beam or terrestrial
that guy's
Earth
not
energy.
Ouroboros. The Ouroboros is the Chinese dude. Remember, that guy is the guy that was in Alcatraz, that escaped from Alcatraz.
Right? No, you're totally right. That's not Ouroboros. That's the that's the male guy or whatever.
Yeah.
In the future.
But he's
right.
a big character in it. Yeah, Ouroboros is the Chinese dude that wrote the handbook.
Yeah, a little Jackie Chan looking dude. I remember that guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the kid in Indiana Jones?
Oh,
I don't know. He might have been.
So. I think
Possibly.
So. But there is an Ouroboros character within it, and Loki does talk to him after that scene. So there is definitely a connection.
And then I'll go through the rest of these kind of quick. I don't want to take up all the time or whatever, but here you got Loki with the as above, so below symbolism. This is the black pyramid, the unfinished. You can see at the top. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's basically unfinished right here. And that represents Mount Meru or Rupus Nigra, the black mountain, the dark mountain.
Wow.
Which is where Loki's born, or the light of the world comes up out of this black mountain or plasma volcano, as I call it. You can see it's full of light. There's light on the inside of it or whatever. And then up here, you've got the inverse of it, which is a lit up pyramid or whatever. And then he's got like all these, Loki is face to face with
5 of them. There's that
What's
5.
that?
There's 5 faces there, which Logan talked about the number 5 connected to this. So that's very interesting as well.
Yep, 5. There's 5 different faces. For me, this guy in the background, he who remains, this represents the sky god, basically, or that's red circle that appears in the sky that people call Nibiru and stuff like that. Kronos, Odin, all this different type of stuff. He's the sky god. Loki is terrestrial. Loki represents earth energy. He represents this solid blue beam or whatever that's seen as a trickster or whatever. But he's staring at his nemesis, basically. He's staring at, a version of like Janus or something like that, the multi-faced god, etc. And then here is what it used to look like. So in the past, or this is a future. In the future, it looks like this. It's a mural. And on the mural, you can see they have like those 3 false gods from the first season.
The reptilians. So they said the reptilians were controlling the timeline, but they weren't even real. It was he who remains behind the reptilians that was running everything, which there's some definite symbolism there with real reality.
Hey, Paranoid, don't these 3 dudes remind you of like that scene in Bill and Ted when they go in the future?
Yeah, with George Carlin, right?
Yeah. This is exactly how they dress.
What was that scene about? Bill and Ted. I didn't.
That's like in the future, people have actually figured out how to be peaceful and be excellent to each other, and that's how they dress. They have these badass little robes with these like popped collars on them.
Yeah, that's totally them. But anyway, so that's the mural. Okay, so this is what it's turned into. So Loki takes this magic stick or wand or whatever, and he busts it open, and then he reveals the origin of it, which is this was the story that was created over time. This is the religion it turned into. This is all the different cartoonifications of the reality that's behind it, which is this cosmic entity that permeates throughout what I call the fractal verse or the multiverse, etc. And that's everywhere, and that's behind everything, and is responsible for creating all these different places or whatever. So he busted open, and he's in down there you can see it says this is who built this place. This is who stole your lives. So the energies are trapped inside of these worlds or realms that we live in. And, it depends on your perspective, like looking at that symbol, right side up or upside down. You see this place as a prison or a vacation or a home or whatever. He says that's who's coming back. So this entity is going to come back one day. And he says, we got to the man at the end of time. So there's a man at the end of time, which is Loki. It's Mercury. It's Hermes, or Hermes the thrice great. It's a cosmic stick figure that shoots up terrestrially from the ground, sort of probably waving in the wind, which they even show Loki doing. He imitates one of those wacky, incredible arm moving, I forgot what you call them, those little blow up things, But the man at the end of time is Adam Kadmon, or the first man, or the first human-like image, which is seen in the sky, which is pure spirit, which is energy. And then this guy starts talking, and he says, he built this place. And then this guy's like, how would I not remember that? If, because he's all about the TVA, or like the space agency cops or whatever. He's like, how would I not remember who built it or whatever? And he says, that's because he wiped your memories. And this is all about our memory wipe and how we've forgotten our origins and stuff. I'll come back to this one. This is really interesting. All these little Post-it notes that I saw in the credits. I was reading all of these, and they're really interesting stuff.
Oh, I'm glad you got them, because I was going to, and I ran out of time. So I'm glad you definitely got them. I seen someone in the comments say, "Who's the guest?" This is a show me and Paranoid American do every week called Conspiracy Cinema Podcast. It's on Truth Mafia Podcast, but it's streaming to Jay's channel. It's streaming to multiple platforms. And me and Logan was going to do a show, which I invited Jay on, so yeah, if that answers your question.
Yeah. And then I'm actually about to tie this into the old ones.
They got
so check this out. So this is what you guys were talking about earlier, right? Wasn't this symbol right here?
Well, look at the metronome too.
Yeah, that's that 369 right there, though. That's that vortex math.
Yeah, and remember the metronome, which we talked about, and They Live, that little thing that clicks back and forth, tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
Tick. That's it.
Yeah, they have that on there too, right?
Wow.
You know what else? That's also an Enneagram. The chart on the left that goes
this right here?
8, 9, 1, 2.
Oh, this right here. Yeah.
That's an Enneagram. So an Enneagram is basically like a formula or framework that shows not just archetypes, but how certain archetypes transition to others. See how like the 9 is pointing down? The 9's actually going to be pointing to a 3 that's off screen, but a 9 is like a peacemaker, right? Like that's when you're at sort of like a stable mode. And then the 3 is actually competition. That's like a competitive spirit. So it's like they're kind of opposites, but they also play off each other. But anyways, this is kind of fascinating that you even pointed this out. I didn't notice this, and that's 100% an Enneagram.
Yeah.
And the 9, Odin hung on the tree for 9 days, and Ragnarok at the end,
yep.
Thor gets bit by the snake, takes 9 steps, and dies. So the 9 is huge in Norse mythology.
The other thing too, see how it's all highlighted, like the 9 is circled and it's going down. That's because in this Enneagram and in vortex math, and this is where Tesla said if you could understand the 369, that this is kind of like an infinite loop, because you can keep bouncing between these 3 points, 3, 6, 9, over and over and over again. Whereas if you were on 1, you would bounce from 1 to 2 to 4, up to 1, back to 7. Like it kind of bounces all over the place. And it's almost like if we were talking in concept of tarot cards, right? This is almost like Wheel of Fortune. If you understand how to have control and alternate and kind of like stick in, to oversimplify this 369 loop, that's almost like being at the center spoke of the Wheel of Fortune, while the rest of the world is constantly going through, ups and downs and ebbs and flows.
Wow. Hey, your audio, Paranoid, it's getting a crackling coming
let
through.
me reconnect.
Yeah, brother, when you're talking.
I think I've seen this same symbol too in that movie Cars. I think they have like a V or
It's a
something. I
sign.
think it's upside down actually.
Looks like a sine wave too.
But I'll show you what this reminded me of. It's another movie that I broke down, and they have this exact same symbol in it, which is crucial. You guys remember? Can you guys take a guess what movie this is in? This exact same glyph?
No, I don't have no clue.
Let me show you.
I
This
wish
is
I-
the glyph that was the
Star-
crucial glyph in the movie Stargate. This was the glyph that they needed to interpret and figure out how to time travel. And
Whoa.
in it, they had two witnesses that they would draw on either side of this, right? So in this represents, for me, the unfinished pyramid or the plasma volcano of Mount Meru or Rupus Negra. And then the eye in the sky directly above it. And this is where the symbol for the Illuminati, typically, with the all-seeing eye placed either above or inside of the pyramid, right? They squished them together.
Tanit too, the goddess Tanit.
Yep. I'm all
Yes,
about
good one.
Remember I showed you that, Jay? How there's so much connection to that goddess with the plasma stick figure. Remember I showed you her because Paranoid got me hip to her. And they used to sacrifice younger people to that goddess. That was a Carthaginian from Carthage, right?
I think she's the real goddess, and that like Baal and all the other sort of male deities, they were kind of set up as the exoteric version, but she's really the esoteric behind all of it.
Wow.
Right.
Very interesting.
Now, typically there's witnesses on either side, and this gets into various religions and stuff as well. There's always two witnesses on either side of the throne of God. And they have different names, or sometimes they're represented by pillars or columns, etc. Right? But for me, because it's electrical or electromagnetic in nature, this is an anode and a cathode on either side of Mount Meru that has that central beam that shoots up that touches the hole in the sky. And then in the credits, you see that they have Kronos on the clock here. I didn't flip it upside down, but you can see it's upside down. It says Kronos, for time, and they're keeping track of time. But Kronos is the horned one up in the sky. And then they have like these posters, etc. This one's interesting because it shows plasma, basically. So in the movie, they make it look like the strands of time are like, entire universes or whatever. But clearly, like they're in some sort of place outside of time where they can see them close up or whatever. But for me, they're plasma. They represent cosmic plasma, activity or whatever out there. It says exposure to extreme temporal energy will result in fatal corporal dehusking, which I thought was a funny way of saying dying. But you don't really die. You're just dehusked. You just, you go get another body. And then there's another part, and this is from this season 2, because I already kind of broke down season 1 or whatever. But from season 2, the girl, what's her name? Sophie or something?
Sophie, yeah.
So she goes back in time to like the early 80s, and then they show her in this retro McDonald's, and the color spectrum is really what I picked up on, right? Because I talk about a color spectrum shift that our sun goes through as it constantly shifts, right? So a lot of people who are older, like myself and some other people, Logan probably remembers this too, back in the early 80s and 70s and whatnot, a lot of things vibed with more of a yellow, orangey, brown kind of a color spectrum. Moving it into today's, we go from this McDonald's with the yellow to this McDonald's with the blazing whiteness to it, like a fluorescent light all over the place. I'm not saying they're all like this, but this was the one I used just to make the point, because the sun itself goes through color spectrum shifts or changes. And they showed the colors in this movie as they do with all of them. This is that dude Ouroboros, who represents a circuit, energetic circuit, and he says the containment doors are locked, so they need to unlock these containment doors so that they can go fix this loom or whatever, this loom that's going to like weave together all the timelines perfectly or whatever. And he says the containment doors are locked, so only the person who designed the containment doors or the facility, which is this TVA or whatever, can open it with a live scan of his temporal aura. So they need a temporal aura, which is a spirit body or a scan of one, in order to unlock the containment doors. And that would be he who remains, right? After everybody dies in the apocalypse, figuratively speaking. And he says, but he's dead. He who remains is dead. So these characters, they don't die. Okay. The terrestrial beam energy seems to die, and it seems to be buried in the earth and disappear, and we mourn, but then it reappears, right? Because it's cyclical. Just like the eye in the sky seems to disappear, but it's still there. It's up above us in the firmament. It's just invisible right now, but it will reappear one day as the energy reverses. And then he says, so without Miss Minutes was AI, or she represents the information of the earth, or terrestrial earth energy, which is represented by Mount Meru, which is M, which is Miss Minutes, or 33 sideways, right? Because Mount Meru is 33 miles in around, right? Circumference. Damn, hold up, I skipped that. Hold on, let me get back here. So he says, so without Miss Minutes to help us override the lock, we're stuck. All right, so basically what this means is that they need Mount Meru to activate so that there can be this spiritual image of a human in the sky. I'm speaking about the movie, but also like forgotten history. Okay. So Mount Meru activates, Miss Minutes, turns on, shoots up this beam into the sky, which branches out, giving us the Atlas figure that's holding up its arms in the sky, etc. Loki, etc. Or the man at the end of time, you could say, etc. And when Mount Meru activates, that's whenever Jesus is born, because this is also Mother Mary, which is Miss Minutes or whatever, who's surrounded by this crystal clear lake or whatever. So they say we have to convince a rogue artificial intelligence to come back to work, which is interesting because if this is true, then what they're saying is that the core of the earth, right? If I were to transfer that into my perspective with the plasma apocalypse and my cosmology, that the earth energy itself is a form of artificial intelligence or a program, right? Which is interesting. So they need to activate this program to sort of, kick off the apocalypse or whatever. And then they show you all these guards that go through all these doors that open up all across time and places so that they can change events. And this reminded me of Monsters, Inc., right?
Oh, yeah.
They have all these doors in this warehouse or whatever, all the guards go through and stuff. And then same concept in Monsters, Inc., where they have all these doors and they go through, etc. And it's all about energy transfer and things like that. And then you have the all-seeing eye in the background and stuff like that too. And then Ouroboros is like, I could take her offline and reboot the system. So when he says reboot the system, the defenses will go down. This is the neutral point of the plasma apocalypse for our actual physical Earth that we live in, where the electromagnetics hit a neutral point and there are none to protect us from what's above, which depressurizes the atmosphere because now there's no magnetic force to hold in all of those gases that are opposed to a magnetic force. So all those gases rush to the apex of the dome or the firmament, bursting it out, creating a hole in it. And then all of that cosmic plasma comes down. He says, we're going to reboot the system, but we'll lose the entire safety system, right? That's our safety system, which is the sky, which is the electromagnetic force that's up there, keeping that plasma at bay or asleep or waiting or whatever. And he says, so what are we going to lose? And he says, the security protocols will go down, which include the dampeners that prevent people from using magic, right? So in our world, this is what allows us to use magic once again. We don't have magic. We create technology because we've lost our magical abilities, and magic is no longer in our world today, but that doesn't mean it's gone forever, right? Whenever the system is rebooted and goes down, now we get magic powers back, which I talk about all the time on my channel. Tommy, you shared this one, and it reminded me of the Firmament as well, with like that inverted dome. If you were to look at this like it was the ceiling of our world or the sky or whatever. And then whenever it opens, because there's different layers to the sky, there's different heavens or whatever. But whenever it opens, this is the depressurization event, and there's all this plasma that's out there. And then this guy turns into like spaghetti, right?
Yeah.
He gets all stringed up and he turns into string. This is he who remains or whatever. He goes out there and it's all of this, what looks like spaghetti, but it's basically plasma. Or these are, I don't know what they're supposed to be, like miniature timelines or something like that in the movie. They don't really explain it. Well. But it turns into what looks like a big bowl of spaghetti. You see that?
It's pretty crazy. And that's the slide I was showing here, Jay, with the whole radiation rising in that 529 connection. So that's fascinating. That's what happens to him, guys, in that slide I was showing you. So when the timelines start to go apart, so that's the first time we see this happen, right? And then in the last episode that we just seen, episode 5, because we haven't seen 6 yet, that starts happening to all the timelines, Jay. Remember?
Yeah. Well, that's because this, I believe that this, well, first of all, my cosmology is like older from, the ancient world or whatever. And I also incorporated some new stuff that I've learned into my own personal cosmology. But I like the Norse tree of life. I like Yggdrasil. I like that there is this cosmic tree that is not just terrestrial, but it's cosmic. It goes through our world, permeating our world and energizing our world. But it also supplies energy to all of these other realms that are on its branches, that hinge on its branches, which gets us into like what I call the mind of God or the fractal verse and synapse theory and stuff like that. But if we take a look and we see the plasma in this spaghetti symbolism over here, it reminded me of the flying spaghetti monster. And there's actually a church. I don't know if you guys ever knew this, but there's a church called the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Wow.
That was accepted as a religion in the Netherlands in 2016. They call themselves the Pastafarians. So it's supposed to be a joke. And the joke was that somebody made the point that if they're teaching intelligent design, that they should have the right to teach the exact opposite of that. And to make their point, the person who was making this point allegedly made this up off the top of his head, that his God should be a flying spaghetti monster. And he's just allegedly supposed to be making this up, right? But I've found that you can't make up anything in this world. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all been done. You can only use what is already there. You know what I mean?
Like no thoughts original.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not that they're all no thoughts original. It's that they're all the same thought, basically. You know what I mean? They're not different. So
there's
they're
those
all
owl plasma eyes again too.
So someone got something playing in the background. I can hear.
That's a train.
Oh,
there's a train. Sorry.
You live by the train tracks, brother Jay?
Yeah, it does that a lot.
Oh, okay, no problem.
He's actually on a train right now.
Yeah. The flying spaghetti monster, right? And this is turning into an actual belief system that has an adherence and everything like that, right? But there's nothing new under the sun. So there's a lot of truth in this. You can see in this particular, these are supposed to be mocking images, but what it is, it's the depressurization point up there in the sky, like we talked about, and the plasma that comes down out of it. You got the two eyes or the toroidal instabilities off to the side, like we also mentioned, right? In that one diagram. And then right here in this book, it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was arg. So all of their adherents, they say that they have to be pirates, basically, which for me harkens back to Survivors of the Apocalypse, whenever the world went into its water age or its flooded age or whatever. But it also reminded me of Monty Python when they were looking for the Holy Grail, and they said it's in the castle of Arg, which is really interesting. The origin of Arg, like if you look up Argo, like Jason and the Argonauts, right, is Arg from the Proto-Indo-European root that means to shine, specifically to shine brilliant or white, because all swift motion causes a kind of glancing or flickering light. So the word Arg means light itself. In the beginning was light. Here's another like example of he's holding like, they're supposed to be they're trying to mock Christianity and other religions. However, they're not. They're just replicating. Like it's the exact same thing. Here's some other things. They strongly associate the spaghetti monster with the concept of God. There's definitely a concept of Cthulhu. There's Cthulhu symbolism because he's basically just a head. I mean, we've given him more body parts over time, but he's a head that has tentacles that has those same exact owl eyes or toroidal fields that, like I showed you earlier, right? The spaghetti monster, Cthulhu, the exact same cosmic entities. Santa Claus, Logan mentioned Santa Claus earlier, I think, right?
Yep.
This is the red plasma that comes down the chimney of the world, that comes down in here and petrifies some things and gives superpowers and gifts or activates DNA or whatever to other things, etc. So this is a type of deity, which is also related to, so we were talking about the ancient ones in H.P. Lovecraft, right? We kind of hinted at that earlier. This is not Cthulhu. There's different entities in Lovecraft's writing that, they all have tentacles and stuff, but this is actually like the father of Cthulhu. So they're it's repetition. They're repeating because it's cyclical. So in one age you'll have Cthulhu. In another age you'll have this guy whose name is, what was it? Yog Sothoth. So you see Thoth in there, right? Yog Sothoth, which is kind of like Yggdrasil. This Yog is Ig, basically. But Yog Sothoth, you can see he's right above the Black Pyramid. He's got the, this is the red eye in the sky, or the depressurization point, which has the ionized hydrogen behind it, which turns it pinkish, red, or magenta. All of these, you could say maybe this is some black goo symbolism, I'm not sure, but you definitely have electricity, lightning, etc. These tentacles come down from the sky of Yog Sothoth, which is the father of Cthulhu. It says Yog Sothoth knows the gate. Yog Sothoth is the gate. Yog Sothoth is the key and the guardian of the gate, past, present, and future. All are one in Yog Sothoth, etc. basically. So for me, this represents the energy that is up there in the sky beyond the firmament. This is a plasma conduit, and this is what it looks like at the end of the road where it smashes into our sky and wraps around our world. Okay, this is the circuits of time in Bill and Ted's or whatever like that. That's why they always travel through the phones too. It's information transfer or whatever. Yog Sothoth is a cosmic entity and an outer god of the Cthulhu mythos and in the dream cycle of H.P. Lovecraft. Born of the nameless mist. So this creature is born from mist, right? The mist happens because of the vapor canopy that opens up when the atmosphere depressurizes, violently ripping apart the gases that are in our air, which then condense, and it turns into vapor. So this thing is born whenever you see the vapor instantly appear all the world across, or fog, or some people would think it's smoke or whatever. So it's born of the nameless mist. He's the progenitor or the father of Cthulhu. So he gives birth to Cthulhu, or you could say Cthulhu comes after him, or the form of Cthulhu comes after. Hastur, the unspeakable, and the ancestor of the Vurmi. I think I have Hastur. I don't know if I have Hastur in here, but anyways, they're all related. And this is sort of what you get. This is that plasma Z-pinch point in the middle. You see it, and it opens up on one side, it'll open up on the other. You have a Z-pinch right there in the middle where they say the stars are born, etc. This is the spaghetti monster in the actual Loki show. They don't call it the spaghetti monster. They just say these are like time ripping apart or something. But you could see this is what it is for us. Like if this represents our world right here, right? This is space where we have all these different timelines out there beyond the firmament. And they're all touching different realms, which act as different times that people travel to or whatever. But then whenever it hits a world, it condenses, the light passes through, and you get a singular point to focus, which gives you like daytime or whatever, like a sun or whatever. This is acting as like the all-seeing eye in the sky with the plasma around it. This is also like Medusa, like the face of Medusa, which is also, Medusa is portrayed as sticking her tongue out too, just like Kali. She always has her tongue out too. And that's because the tongue acts as a form of plasma. It's symbolic for plasma coming out of an opening, which is for us sticking our tongue out. And that's when things change. That's why people wink. They do the one eye symbolism. They mean, hey, things are about to change. There's a secret, that's why they stick their tongue out, all that type of stuff. That was pretty much it.
That was a good, definitely a good breakdown, brother. Very fast.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really interesting, man.
That should have just been one of the episodes in the series, honestly, man. Like the breakdown was probably better than like one of the slower episodes in season 1. So that was dope.
Were you expecting the spaghetti monster to show up?
But there is a big symbolism there in the show with that whole spaghetti thing, and it again, it reminds me with Loki, and at the end of time, right? He's there during Ragnarok when all this happens. That's Loki's revenge. Like I said earlier, right now he's tied. This is how the legend goes. He's tied up in a cave until the end of time, and they tied him up through his child's entrails. So then he comes out with the serpent that he birthed. He birthed his serpent. We always see Loki. That's his number one symbolism, the serpent. And all these images I created using AI art, guys, if you're wondering. So he birthed the serpent. The wolf is also, I believe, one of his children. And Loki is a shape-shifting entity. They're always talking about he can shape-shift into different entities. He can take male form, female form, and shape into multiple different characters. So I wonder what that symbolism is behind it with the whole shape-shifting. I think it does tie into something with the changing of the timelines and the coming to Ragnarok in the end days, where we'll see this all the gods come together for this ancient war. They try to stop it from happening. This is why Odin tore his eye out and got the knowledge when he hung himself on the tree, which, guys, he hangs himself on a tree and impales himself with a spear. What's that sound like? Jesus Christ, right? For 9 days. And he drunk this water that gave him the knowledge. And he did that so he could have this knowledge how to stop Ragnarok in the end times. But like Odin falls in the battle. Thor falls in the battle. Thor's son is the one left over. And then the moon and the sun birthed children right before the end of the world, before this global reset. And their children are the new sun and moon in the sky. And Thor's children are the ones that take over, what's it called there where they're from? I forgot for a second. Asgard. They take over Asgard. So, and even Asgard, how there's Midgard, Asgard, that kind of reminds me of like inner Earth, and then the heavens above, right? And then we have, I guess Earth would be considered Midgard in that scenario, right? But yeah, man, it's very fascinating, and in their mythology and Norse mythology, it's really based on the whole flat Earth. Their tree, how they have the representation set up, that's what it's based on. The same symbolism we see behind this. And Logan, you had a crazy perspective you talked to me about one time, how you said you believe what's actually spinning is the firmament, right?
Yep.
That's fascinating to me.
Yep. I think Earth's an egg, and Earth is the all-seeing eye is on Jupiter. The all-seeing eye is the great red spot. And if you look at that shape, it's an egg. So Earth's an egg. The firmament is an egg. Earth is not round. It's an egg shape.
That's pretty cool to think about too. And I like hearing everybody's different perspectives and theories. Like me, I believe everything is a simulation, interdimensional, but I also believe it's an enclosed organic simulation that I don't know if you could say it's been hijacked or it caught a virus. Maybe it caught a virus, and that's what the archon connection is. There's this like artificial overlay that maybe the organic simulation that we were supposed to come into to learn our life lessons and eventually ascend, whatever it is. But then there's like this virus to it. These archons, which are harvesting the loose energy, kind of using us as a battery. And a lot of people believe they're trying to put their karma off on us. I don't know if you've ever heard that, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, look, whatever's running this
about the archons.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the archons in Gnostic is the seven, the sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. Those are the seven archons, which in Caldian that equals 143. 143 is tied right to pi, right? It's pi. It's a permutation of pi. So pi is the Earth. So, the whole story of Loki to me is, again, Jupiter seemingly is getting the nod here for kind of the main energy that gets everything. And I'm going to show you through my slides that Jupiter, when you look at Jupiter, the symbol, he always has an eagle next to him. That's the phoenix.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Jupiter does. So does Enlil. Remember, is Enlil Jupiter?
I think, well, Enlil and Enki together through numerology equal the number 30.
Oh.
So to me, that's the personality through the Anunnaki story of whatever's running this reality.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Odin to me is Uranus. Anu in the Anunnaki story is Uranus. Anu is Uranus. And if you go all the way back to ancient Sumeria, you're going to have the land of Uranus, and their sky god was Anu or An. So Uranus gets the nod, and then Uranus and Gaia through mythology, they give birth to all the other celestials. So it's heaven and earth birthing all these celestials. And it may just be that, human beings as a species, every reset, as we collectively think of things, or we're given these thoughts and we create, when the Phoenix event happens and the energy goes up, the Phoenix rising, there may be a new celestial that gets created outside of this reality. And that's how every time we go through a cycle, a new planet's created, and that's how these planets are described through the mythologies of being created by Gaia and Sky, which is Uranus, canopy.
The celestial, that was in Marvel's what was the name of that one?
Sentinels?
The Eternals.
Remember the Eternals? Yeah. There's a new celestial, and that whole, we'll have to break that down sometime too, because that, I believe, is the symbolism of this reset as well. It's like so ingrained in all these shows. It's pretty crazy. Now, which one of you two gentlemen want to go next? Paranoid?
Go ahead, Thomas.
I just got a real quick one because, dude, like I can't even follow up Jay, bro. Jay came out and like dropped the mic, but I really wanted to hone in on Kang the Conqueror. That's the guy that has the 5 faces behind, right? And he gets presented in this show almost like he's this, super god or like superpower. They don't really go into his backstory, but in the actual comic backstory, he's just some dude from the year 3000. And he's a criminal that has access to time machine, essentially. I'll oversimplify it. But it's like, imagine like a bad guy in Time Cop gets away. That's kind of who Kang the Conqueror is. And he goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, and he uses, future person technology to just decimate and basically establishes himself as a god because he defeats all the other ancient Egyptian gods, and all the old pharaohs. But really, he's just some regular dude. It's JayDreamerZ turned bad that gets a time machine and goes back, and he sort of posits it as though he is in control of everything. But really, he just knew to like link up with all his other selves across all these other dimensions. And it's like, imagine the perfect Illuminati. It's not like a bunch of different people. It's just like all one person, but they're like conspiring across timelines and across dimensions. If you want to talk about like some real Illuminati, that would be like next level, right? Like it's all just George Soros, but there's like 2,000 of him, and they all just like agree on what's good for the timeline across all dimensions. That kind of terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's fascinating. That's really hilarious. And I created an image, Jay. It didn't come out exactly how I wanted, but with the plasma apocalypse, where it reanimates the dead.
Jelly!
Yeah, it looks like a jellyfish, man.
Yeah. I wanted it to make a dome of the earth and the plasma punching through it, and this is what it gave me. So, I tried to get it to do it numerous times, but still pretty cool image. And that jellyfish we see in the sky, so
that's awesome, man. Wow, that's
what
badass.
does the AI know, because that's what it created when I told it create me an image of the plasma apocalypse. So it's pretty fascinating. And of course, I always put the Golden Gate Bridge back in the background. And for my people that's been following me, the symbolism behind that situation.
That was in the show too. Did you notice that?
No, the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, they featured San Francisco and they showed the Golden Gate Bridge in the show.
Oh wow, no, I did not catch that. That's interesting. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool. And AI never puts the Golden Gate Bridge where it's supposed to go. Like here, it's got 2 of them.
Bro, do you guys remember in iRobot with Will Smith? That robot dreams, and the AI robot draws a freaking image of a bridge with all the robots like meeting there, and it says what you see here. Do you remember that?
No.
Nobody? Dang. All right, never forget it.
That was it. That was in what was it called?
It was an iRobot.
Will Smith, right?
Yeah, he can dream. He's the only robot that can dream or whatever, this one rogue robot. And he's like, draw me what you keep dreaming. And he draws a picture of the bridge I think it might be the Golden Gate. I can't remember, but it's a bridge. All these robots, all this AI, they all meet at this bridge. And he keeps saying enigmatically, what you see here or whatever.
Wow. Yeah, the AI comes up with some fascinating stuff when you tell it to draw bridges. Different things. And it just reminds me of you guys really got to look into the Rainbow Bridge on my old website, which I don't put nothing up there anymore. I'm actually embarrassed of that website, TommyTruthful.com. It's when I first started. But there's a great blog on there that I did do a great job on. It's called just type in Rainbow Bridge. It'll blow your mind. It gets into Niagara Falls and the symbolism behind that. And there's actually a portal in Niagara Falls. It says the ancients there would talk about this rainbow bridge that connected to these other realities. And then when you look into Rainbow, we had it in Stranger Things. Remember, in the Rainbow,
That's awesome.
which is all connected to that manipulation of time too. I think there's a heavy connection to Rainbow and in time manipulation is my point on that one. But yeah, AI comes up with some really crazy stuff. It's pretty cool, man, what you can get it to do now. I created all this, guys, with Chat GPT, the Dolly on there. And up on truthmafia.com, we have a gallery that we started, which we put some prompts in there to help you guys how to do it, so you can learn how to do it. And I actually wrote a quote and put it on there. I'm always writing these daily quotes, but art is an alchemical process of extracting the vivid landscape of our mind and transmuting them into tangible realities where imagination becomes a masterpiece and creative breaths life into the canvas of existence, breathes life into the canvas of existence. So, it definitely is some type of alchemical process where we can bring things out of our mind into a reality. Even when you're doing it with AI, it's your prompt. It's what's in your head that you're bringing into a reality. And, most people can't get really cool images with the AI. It's not that easy to do. So, there's a lot of people that tell me, damn, Tommy, you got some awesome images. Like my dad tried it. He got terrible images. He couldn't get it to do nothing. It's just, I
know that.
No, yeah, Logan, I'm sure you could get some cool ones, bro. You just
I haven't figured that out yet, so it's all good though.
But you got a good imagination, brother, and I think that's part of it. A Paranoid American's amazing at it. He taught me so many different things, and
yeah, we'll have you on Paranoid Programming because honestly, it's just like the easiest skill to teach someone, and once it clicks, it's just like the world opens up. Like all these images that Tommy was putting together. Even if you were to hire somebody to do all these, we're talking weeks and weeks of work, right? And I'm assuming that Tommy did all this stuff just like this week in prep for
last
this.
night.
So it's not last night. Yeah, dude, it's insane, man.
Imagine how I would pay someone to do all this stuff. If I wanted to pay for this artwork, and I did this all last night. After me and Logan talked, I started doing some more prompts, and all these images I created. It took me a little while to get some of them, but I just created these two while Jay was talking. The one's right there. So yeah,
sure.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
That's amazing, dude. You did them that fast. Jesus.
I just have one parting question for I guess Jay and Tom and Logan, but like, is Kang the Conqueror in this show, is that Saturn because he controls time, or is he like an anti-Saturn, like a fake Saturn?
What's your opinion, Logan?
I'll show you on my slides. I got him pegged as Jupiter. So.
Oh, interesting. And Jupiter is the king of the gods, right?
That's right.
So you got some slides to present, brother. If you want to present,
just give me. I'm almost finished. I had to create a few here because I wasn't prepared. I didn't know we were going to show slides. So just give me a second and I'll.
Oh, you're fine, brother. And I like. You make them awesome slides too.
Thanks, bro.
I like that cheetah in the background there you got there with them blue eyes. Did you create that with AI art?
That's
No,
a
that's my
jaguar, isn't it?
It's a jaguar.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
spirit animal. This is my new backdrop. This is actually from a printer. This is a real backdrop. So this is a black fabric with the jaguar imprinted on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did a reading the other day. I told you, I texted you on one of your. It was a lady that did it. She said you did a reading on her a while ago. I was so intimidated
Oh,
once she told me that. I was like,
I'm
oh,
sure you
man.
did amazing, bro. I'm
I
sure you
said,
did
listen,
amazing.
I said, I ain't on Logan's level, but I'll give you the best well, she was pretty happy with it. So that was cool. But
Yeah, everybody's got their angles, man. Just because you're not somebody who thinks you can do it, you know, and you got a good keen eye. And I mean, just looking at your damn art, dude, I know you got a lot of a great layers of observation. So that's important.
I learned a lot from you, brother, like the connections with the tarot and the connections to the destiny card. I never even knew what a destiny card was until you taught me. And I'm the 10 of diamonds, Donut's the queen of spades. We're like sister cards, right? Me and Donut. And then Jay, you're the 4. I know all their cards. They don't even know their own shit. Jay's the 4 of diamonds, which what do you know about that? Logan, what's up with the 4 of diamonds?
Well, it's Jonathan Michael Majors, the guy they casted to play Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, wow.
It's 4 of diamonds, yeah.
He's canceled now, isn't he? Didn't he get canceled?
Who? Jonathan
got
Michael
arrested.
Majors?
Yeah, they
he
said
got
he
like
did
super
something to
canceled.
some girl or something.
Oh,
I don't
really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
At least in this timeline he did. Maybe in another timeline he didn't get caught.
Oh, wow.
This timeline. Well, I forget what they said he did to the girl, but then I heard it got redacted that the girl came out and said it didn't happen. So I don't know what to believe. The news
Dude, he
lies
jumped
so
back
much.
in time and had her change her story.
He went back in time,
one of his variants.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay. I think I'm about ready, man. Let's see here.
That's hilarious.
Um,
And for anybody new here, let me just tell you, tarot and destiny, they're not evil. I know you've been programmed to believe that, but it's all part of the code. I don't do tarot to tell futures. I use it to decode.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not out here telling people I don't even know how to do that. I wouldn't know what to do, you know, when it comes to that. But it does take another layer, add another layer to the decoding that's just next level. Like certain dates, like you look at the date of a movie, right? What date it came out. You can see what birth cards that's assigned to your 2 tarot cards and then your destiny card. It's just fascinating when you look at all them layers.
Yeah. I think it's also related to the cosmic tree. The word tarot is related to the word tree or daru.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
It's the root of the word druid, actually.
That's pretty interesting.
Mhm.
So, yeah, brother, whenever you're ready, you just hit % and I'll add
Oh,
it.
yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Thank you, Stacey. We appreciate you. Okay, here we go. Add to stage. Oh, yeah, some cool slides.
Okay. So I just kind of put these together, man. And I was really, Jay, you did an amazing job breaking down the damn logo. I didn't even do that. You know, what's interesting about the logo is it's a letter Z, right? And there's 2 of them intertwined. 2 letter Z's intertwined. Z is 26 letter, and 26 plus 26 is going to give you 52. And the word prison planet equals 52. So that's the hourglass, right? So it's very interesting. But you can clearly see that the time variance is the yin yang. So it's pretty clear that the time variance, the variance timelines themselves is always going to be a duality to it. And then they have for all time always, and that's that 53, which I go to Alchemy to get the clue, and there's iodine. We say this a lot, but there's the all-seeing eye of Jupiter. Jupiter seemingly owns 50, 51, 52, 53. If I go to the periodic table and I show you these elements here, it starts with tin, right? Tin is called the merger of worlds. There's that 118, right? That's the average isotope. Tin has the most stable isotopes out of any element. It's got 10 of them. Okay. That's a big clue if you know what 10 means. 10 is the decagon. but it's 50, and then 51 is antimony, the all-seeing eye. This is the 51 is the degrees at the slope of the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Great Pyramid of Giza. 51 is that degrees, and then that all-seeing eye. Of course, when you cut your brain in half, you're going to get that. You're going to get that shape inside there. So this antimony element here is tied to the word parasitos, which means parasite.
Wow.
Yeah, parasitos.
And Logan, that 69 connection you just had on the slide with the logo, something interesting. CERN on 9/29, September 29th, just had its 69-year anniversary since 1954.
Oh, so, okay, that's a big one right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
It's interesting.
Yeah, totally. So these, even the 69, when you go look at the 69th element here, this is called thulium, right? And this word comes from ancient Thule, and when you study it, it's the farthest on the old ancient maps that you could go north, right? Thule, there's an Air Force base up there, and wouldn't you know it, that's where they got the Space Force at now. Space Force is located up in ancient Thule. It's like Greenland, like way the hell up there. Okay, so there's that 69 there. But all these 50s, this is all Jupiter. This is prison planet Tellurium. Prison planet equals 52. There's the iodine. We say this a lot. I am this. I am that. And then we have the 54, which if you watch the movie They Live, it was News Station 54 broadcasting the hypnotic trance to keep you asleep. Obey, consume. And this is the flash of creation right there. Okay. Yeah. And then you go to the 55. 55 is time travel. Cesium is atomic clocks. Matter of fact, the show Dark, if you watch that amazing show on Netflix, which was all about just reincarnating and changing into a different character, they used cesium 135, I think, or 136 to time travel. And then you have barium 56, and this is the lights, camera, action element right here. And the 137 is the 33rd prime number. So these are, and then 57, there's the Truman Show equals 57. There's lanthanum, and you clearly see the icon there. It's a camera. It's a lens watching you. This is the all-seeing eye of Jupiter.
Law of attraction is 57 in Caldian too, Logan.
Oh yeah. So was Stairway to Heaven.
Wow.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven's 50s. Yeah. So these are all. So 57 goes to 58. 58 is tied to the word puppet master. The word remote control equals 58. And then you end Jupiter's 50s with the 59, and the word contract with God equals 59. The game of life equals 59. And there you have the symbol of Gemini. And this is going to be the prison bars. And of course, in astrology, the third house of astrology is Gemini, ruled by the two twins, Castor and Pollux. And what's across the way? You guys were talking about it earlier. Directly across from the third house is the ninth house, and the ninth house is Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. Okay. So there's the elements through astrology, all the numbers 50. So
I got a quick question for you, Logan, because I noticed you're on the Royal Society of Chemistry website right now, right?
Yep.
So when you showed that symbol of Gemini, like where's the Royal Society of Chemistry pulling these graphics from? Like, why did they take that image?
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you click on it, that's a good question. If you click on praseodymium and you come down to the uses and properties right here, it'll tell you, right? So it'll tell you that the symbol is commonly used for Gemini. Now, I think the reason why the color is yellow and green is because if you go study the light spectrum, science tells you that when light enters the eye, the first color you see is the color of a tennis ball, which is that yellowish green color. And of course, the matrix color's in there as well, right? So that's where they're getting this from. They must have some pretty big clues here as to how this whole thing works. Because, I mean, when you break it all down, you tie it all together, it gets super, super interesting, with everything that I've found. So that's the 50 there with Jupiter, and Jupiter, of course, has that iodine. That's one half of the I am. So when we keep going here, you can see that, Jupiter being the demiurge, the word lightning is 30. Demiurge is 30. Jehovah is 30. These are all 30s. And 30 on the periodic table is tied to zinc, and zinc is tied to phosphorus, and that's tied to Lucifer. So there's a lot of reference points that Lucifer's tied to Jupiter. Okay. And then you get the release date of Loki. and it came out on June 9th, 2023. And it's the 8 of diamonds, and there's that Lucifer sigil that fits right over that 8 of diamonds.
That's
Remembering
69.
at night, yeah, it's the 69, right? Time variance, right? 69. Obviously, they probably consciously chose that. But it's on June 9th, it's day number 160, 161. There's the golden ratio. And if you take 161 and you multiply it times 2, you're going to get 322.
Wow.
Which just so happens to be the birthday of Thomas John Ellis, the guy they cast to play Lucifer. Yep, not an accident there. So
you know what the components are of that Luciferian sigil on the bottom right?
On what?
On like the Luciferian sigil, I assume is what you're showing on the bottom right,
Correct.
Overlaid onto the 8 of diamonds.
Correct.
Yep.
Like what are the components of that? Do you know?
Well, I mean, it's got the V there, and the V, of course, can be tied to vanadium on the periodic table, which is element 23, and 23 is the royal star of the lion. That's tied to Jupiter. So there is that aspect there. 23 is tied to the word blood, crown, history. These are all tied to the number 23. So that's kind of how I have it. Of course, the V would be maybe the as above, and then the A would be the so below. You're going to get the XRP symbol in there as well.
There's also like the Azazel symbol too.
Azazel, yep.
Oh,
Good
wow,
eye,
yeah.
Jay. Yep, the Azazel, correct. Yep. So the 19 is the 8th prime number, and 19 in the tarot is the sun card, right? So there's a lot of reference to Lucifer being the sun, the light bringer. It's kind of a no-brainer. And then you have Jonathan Michael Majors, who they casted to play He Who Remains, and his birth certificate name is the Yin Yang, matching time variance authority.
Holy crap. Whose birthday was September 7th? That's my birthday.
That's his.
That's my birthday too.
Oh, there you go, bro.
That's
Wow.
insane.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So 9-7 is the 4 of diamonds card number 30, which matches Demiurge, Jehovah. Even that movie Zero Dark 30 has a lot of referencing points to it. But it's also, what's so fascinating is Jack in the Box was formed on a 4 of diamonds day. So the guy, Robert, I can't remember his name, Robert something, he formed Jack in the Box on February 21st, which is also a 4 of diamonds, 4 of pentacles day. So what is this telling us here? Well, they're referencing that Jack stuck in the box. And there's a lot of referencing points of like, maybe it's the fallen angel story. Maybe there is the ancient ones that are stuck here and they're stuck in the box and they can't get out. And so when the Phoenix event happens, then it gets released. So here's Thomas Hiddleston and Sophia Martino, who plays Sylvia, and you see their names are both 138. And there's the Phoenix rising right there. So the significance, of course, is tied to the number 57 because that's the Truman Show. 57 is tied to the 138. And then you're going to get the referencing point to Zeus because you see Zeus has all these phoenixes. So Zeus is tied to cryptocurrency. I got a big Decode coming out on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Jupiter, right? And then you get the 54 reference here. Remember News Station 54 and They Live. That was broadcasting the hypnotic trance. This right here is Xenon, and this means stranger, this element.
Matthew Perry just drowned it at 54 too.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So the Phoenix event, when you look at it, this is kind of the final slide here. Kang the Conqueror being 63. See, it's the Phoenix rising back to Jupiter, and Jupiter gets all the energy. And that's where you're going to get Kang the Conqueror from. So,
wow.
Yeah. I think I have a few other slides here. This is the Demiurge. Here's Isaiah 45 verses 7, equaling that using the English A through Z, 1 through 26, Jupiter being 99, Isaiah 45 verses 7 being 99, talking about the Demiurge creating light and dark, peace and evil. That's Jupiter. I know I had it pegged so many times to Saturn, but
that's
Jupiter's the largest. Yeah, I mean, even the word Olympian is 30. Olympian is 30.
Damn, that 30 cipher, man. That vampire cipher. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so fascinated with that cipher right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is my Bitcoin coming out, but this is kind of a slide here. I mean, the Economist magazine came out in 1988. 88 is raw radium.
Oh,
Okay.
Jay, you were just talking about this in your podcast last night.
Yep. Libra, Libra. Remember, 2026 is the year of the fire horse. And the horse is Libra. Libra. This is the astrological chart for November 2026, where Jupiter's in the fire of Leo and the sun is in the horse of Libra, 2026. So this is a big year coming up in a couple of years. But there you go. I mean, when you do the mathematics for how I got this is when you do the mathematics of the golden ratio and the string of 3.144 pi, and you go 50 digits in, not including the 1 and the 3, but the numbers beyond the decimal, they add up to 251, 206, and then you get the 457, and that's the 88th prime number. So that's why I knew, like, I know that the 50, 10, and that's why Bitcoin got mined for 50. And that's what the 10 means on the coin, because there are 10 isotopes. There are 10 stable isotopes of tin. 10. The word 10, Phoenix in numerology, is 50. 50. Okay, 50. So it's all referencing Bitcoin is Jupiter. And then you get, I think this is you get the World Economic Forum in here. Okay, here's Jupiter's symbol. It's got the 2 and the 4 and the 1. 241 is the 53rd prime number. The letter X. Why everybody's going gangbusters in the letter X is because it's the 24th letter. Yeah. So the World Economic Forum being formed on January 24th. That's the 124. Going back to right here on Jupiter, 124. You see? But you could 1971 Zeus. Yeah. But of course,
Omega's 24 too, right? Omega, the symbol Omega. Don't that have to do with 24?
Yep.
Which, if you look into Hamas, their logo is kind of like that Omega symbol. Donut talked about that before. Shout out to Donut Factory. But we have a theory we're coming up to some type of Omega event, which I believe will be nuclear. And it's not that someone's doing it. It's just that it's going to manifest, into this reality that we're in. You can clearly see it. So, that's fascinating.
This is lutetium tied to Lucifer. 71's tied to Lucifer. 19 is the sun. 19. Everybody born here is probably 19. So you're tied to the sun. 19. 1800s would be the moon. That's how they reference these points. And then we move into the 2023. Now you get into the judgment card, and you get into graduation and leveling up, et cetera, et cetera. And the last slide I can show you here is the Jesus, Jesus. Jesus may have been created. And why Jesus? Because Jesus is probably the son of Jupiter. Jupiter in Greek mythology, Jupiter created Helios, which is the sun, right? So you have Jesus. This is the Francis Bacon, but I just call it Latin because Latin uses all capital letters. The Vatican has all capital letters throughout its entire basilicas, etc. So the capitalization of Jesus is 204, which matches the word solus, which is sun in Latin. You reduce them down, you get the 33s on each end. The word aurum, which is the word for gold, is 204. Reduce it down, it's 24. Jesus is 24 in the Greek, and then when you bring it into the string of the golden ratio, 24 occupies digits 79 and 80, and there is gold and Mercury. There's Loki. So this may be right here. This may be Thor and Loki. These two. Right
wow.
There.
Yeah. That's pretty fascinating there. And Logan, someone in the comments asked about the number 616. Do you have anything on that number? Because Marvel, the 616 universe, and Paranoid, I seen you do a freaking post on Instagram the other day. You were playing a video game with someone, and you guys were talking about the 616 number. And I got a slide on it that I'll show, but I wanted to ask Logan about it first.
Yeah. So in my raw decoder, which is on my Patreon, just for my Patreons, I'm sorry, I have the beast. I decoded the beast. The beast is 61. Is the beast above is 616.
What's your Patreon so people can check that out?
Decode Your Reality. If you just go Decode Your Reality Patreon, you'll come to my Patreon. You know, I do release stuff there for the public, but if you want all my really good, solid, you know, deep stuff, you gotta do a member stuff. But 616 is the Great Beast, which is you got 6 apostles on the left of Jesus, you have 6 apostles on the right, and then you get Jesus in the middle, 616. So the Great Beast above is the Stargate, which is the astrological chart, which is 13 signs, not 12. 616. 616, if you go study the great, you study the number of the beast, there's these 2 guys who found it's called Papyrus 115.
Yes, sir.
And 115 is Jupiter.
The number of the beast, which occurs in Papyrus 115. It's the oldest scripture of Revelations. They say the oldest version. They found it in like 2017, I guess. And, you know, there's a connection to Caesar, Nero. There's a connection to the number 51, guys, and triple helix, the third strand DNA, and the formula of magic. I see it a lot when people die, too. We see that with the ritual sacrifice, you know, number. And that 51 number is... this is the day they say the Illuminati was formed on May 1st. Of 1776, right? That 51 number, which I've done before, and saying I believe coming up in 2024 we're going to see some very significant events. If you watched our decode on the fall of the House of Usher, we did a breakdown on that connected to the 203 number, Inky and Enlil. And that's that season right there where we always see crazy events happen in between that time period. And then you got March 22nd, 322. And that's the day the Georgia Guidestones was erected, which fell in the 42nd year anniversary of the 322nd day of the year is November 18th, which we're coming up on, which was also in the fall of the House of Usher. Tamerlane Usher, on her newspaper article, it said November 18th. And her name equals 51, matching Black Swan event, Angel of Death. We've seen Waters Above, shout out to Waters Above. He just did a breakdown on the Israel event as a Black Swan event, and it blew my mind. It actually made me put him up on truthmafia.com. He did a amazing job, but that 51 number, that's a big number, man.
It's a big number. It's tied to mind control. It's parasitos. It's the parasite. 51 is parasite. Like the voice, like my final answer is the voice in your head that owns you. You don't own it. You're right. You listen to it. You talk to it.
It's right in the script.
Have you seen that movie Appendage, Logan? It's one that we covered last week.
Dude.
It's basically like a physical manifestation of that voice over time, and if you feed into it, it starts like growing out of you and becomes you because you've given it like it's like a silly B horror movie, but it hits on that topic.
Well, I mean, it's just so fascinating, right? Because like people say, "Oh, I'm broken free," and I'm like, "Well, I could say I'm broken free because I don't turn on the mainstream. I don't watch it. I'm not into that game, but I'm still seeing the decode patterns in my life express themselves. Like something's still using me, right? Something's still using me.
You were created to do exactly what you're doing.
Of course, just like all of you guys are. Yeah, of course, just like you guys were. You know, I mean, we're all.
Look at Jay's coding. It's all connected to, like you said, with that character, and his job in this simulation is to bring that information to the people that he's bringing to them. We were designed to do exactly what we're doing. It's kind of cool when you look at it from that angle, right?
Yep.
It's really cool.
Yep. The Illuminati, the Illuminati, they have this is the May 1st card too, by the way, right here. Varian Illuminati, May 1st. This is the 5 of Swords. And this is a Jupiter card. Jupiter has all the 5s: 5 of Hearts, 5 of Clubs, 5 of Spades, 5 of Diamonds. This is the 5 of Swords.
I'm glad I know
when you add up all the 5s, it gives you in the cards of illumination. You're going to get like the 5 of Clubs. But this is Sylvie's card. It's interesting, right? Because Sylvie and Loki, this is their 2 birth cards. What do you see there? 53, right?
Oh,
Or
wow.
if you flip it, you're going to get to 35, and the word simulation equals 35. This is Thomas Middleton and Sophia, whatever her name is, to play. And when you convert it into the tarot, bro, remember these people are the ones that are the shit starters, the disruptors in this reality. Right. Yeah. And look at their 2 cards in the tarot. You want to talk about disruption?
Wow.
That's Sophia and Thomas Middleton, Loki and Sylvia. This is their 2 birth cards.
The 5 of wands and the 3
of wands and 3 of spades. The 3 of spades is card 53. That's tied to iodine. Iodine is 53. And then this card right here is card 27, and the word Jupiter equals 27. So who do you think's getting all the energy? It keeps going back to Jupiter, 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 Zeus, Zeus, Zeus. It keeps going back to Zeus.
I got an image if you can pull it up real quick, Tommy, because I want to get Logan and Jay's ideas on it.
Hey, with the 27, could you break down real quick the connection to 27 with the Caldian cipher? Because you said it before, and I kind of forgot it. I was trying to tell my people, but I couldn't remember what you told me.
Well, yeah, I mean, reference to what, like Jupiter equals 27? Or what do you mean?
I forget what you said. You were talking about how pure the Caldian cipher was, and then you connected it to that number 27. You said it's the only cipher that adds up to that or something. I can't remember exactly how you broke
it
down.
Yeah. The word Caldean itself. Here, let me share my screen again. The word Caldean itself.
Then I'll put you back in Paranoid.
Let me just show you so people can see.
Yeah, because this is fascinating. I wish I could have remembered it, but
27 is also the 3 9s too.
I usually have a photographic memory too, guys. And Nas's song 27 Summers, I think that takes us 27 summers before Rona, which was 1993, and we had the great flood in St. Louis that year. But Jupiter's return, or Pluto's return right now, 27 degrees Capricorn. There's a big 27, and then the 27 Club, all these famous people that seem to die at that age. Who knows what's happening with them there? That's what the code's writing for them, Yep. So there, it's already been
pretty. You guys see my screen?
No, you got to add it. If you present, then I'll add it.
Why can't I add it? Oh, wait a minute. What the hell's
going on? You got to present.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go, brother.
Okay. All right, you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you see Caldean is 27. Okay, which is a match to the word. Is a match to the word currency, which is what we're being harvested for, our currency. Because that's why people say, I'm going to go to heaven. Okay, sure. Right?
He said, okay, sure.
So Caldean is 27, and then we just go to mathematics, and we go to this amazing website, numberempire.com, and you go to 103, and 103 is the 27th prime number. Now, what's the connecting point? Well, when you take all the letters of the alphabet,
Wow. That's great. Caldean is the OG cipher.
It's the OG cipher, yeah.
It really is, man.
Yeah, it's really heavily tied to Hebrew, the Hebrew language too. A lot of the Hebrew outputs are the same as the Chaldean. So you're not going to get this with any of the other ones. I mean, if you do it with, if I do it with English, you'll get 25. You won't get it even like septenary. I've done it with all. You don't get it with that, but you will find the connecting point, but not like Chaldean. And then with the 27, you go here, it's cobalt. And the abbreviation is CO, which stands for, in my opinion, chaos and order, Jupiter. Chaos and order. And when you click on the icon there, you can clearly see this is a goblin. And then on both the left and right hand side, these are the 2 dragons, the 2 serpents, to me representing yin yang. And then the little goblin gets all the energy. And there's maybe just the pine cone, the pineal gland, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow. Yeah, they're harvesting our energy, man. That's why they there's definitely some type of consciousness that is feeding off of us, right?
Oh yeah. For sure, because you take harvest and you're going to get 26
dollars.
The same thing as source.
Source is 26. Wow.
Which is the same word as prison. which is the same word as planet.
Oh my lord, that 26.
Which is this is the Yod He Vahe equals 26 in Hebrew.
Oh wow.
There you
Jehovah
go.
started like vampire, and it's harvesting our freaking energy. Demiurge
That's right.
started.
Yeah. I think vampire is 27 here. Yeah. See, vampire is Jupiter.
Put the S
Jupiter's
on
a vampire.
Vampires is 30.
Oh, vampires. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry about that, Logan.
That's
And
all
then
good.
I want to show you something with your new cipher that you taught me. Now, this is going to show you some synchronicity in my life, guys. It's pretty fascinating. Let me share my screen real quick. Hold on, guys. So on my Facebook, my one page, I wanted to get the name, the handle Tommy Truthful 369. I use 369 all the time, right? But it was gone. So it gave me Tommy Truthful 36. And then Truth Mafia is 36 in that Pi cipher and Caldian. And when I started it, I knew it was 117 in ordinal because that's my birthday, January 17th. So I was aware of that. But I wasn't aware of the 36 connection, which has just manifested in my life over and over and over again. My real name, when you do it, has the 36 connection. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like this new Pi cipher, bro, I'm digging it.
That's awesome.
Already, bro. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Is there any other platforms that you've seen with it yet, or
What do you mean with the
with
Pi?
the calculator?
No. Anybody else using it?
Yeah, so I did it instantly. I watched your video today. I hit Paranoid up. I'm like, bro, I wrote the whole cipher out for him based on your information. I screenshotted it and I wrote it out and sent him an email. I was like, brother, please get this up before we go live. And yeah, there it is, guys. So what we're talking about.
The word Phoenix equals 36.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and remember, Tommy, you're born on the same day as Jim Carrey, who's got the 10 of diamonds, which is the 36 card in the deck.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do have that, like Jim.
So see, all of us, like my kind of final answer on all this is that we're at the end stretch here of this reality, and you know the whole Tower of Babel story, which is Genesis 11 verses 9. There's Jupiter, or the 119. And the tower is where everybody kind of gets spread out over the earth because they figured it out. See, the whole story was making a tower to go up to heaven. That story means us making information to figure out how this reality works. And we're climbing and getting to the top. And when you get to the top, the explosion happens and then we all get scattered. So essentially, we're all decoding ourselves home, but the inevitability is there's going to be some major disruption here with all of ourselves on the world stage. So we're all part of the Phoenix event through the information age.
It's crazy. You did a great job on this one too. That war decode you did.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I loved it. And guys, on Truth Mafia, if you go down like on Logan's page or Paranoid American's page or Jay's page, scroll all the way down under the post, you'll see all their links to their YouTube channel, to their Patreons, to their websites. I put everything pointing back to their platforms. So, you know, when I got the idea to put that together, it was honestly all people I was fans of. I loved their work and I just thought they were amazing at what they did. So I tried to put this platform together where it was a one-stop shop where everyone, and it's doing amazing. You know, on average, we're doing anywhere from 10 to 15,000 views a day, which is phenomenal. You know, them numbers. Great. So yeah, man, it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's just it's turned out to be even better than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, there's some really good information over here, man, on everybody. And Jay's got his own page over here. Paranoid's got his, and then of course they got their own websites, you know, which all the links are in there, so you can check them out on their platforms. And Jay also has his own YouTube channel that he does his thing on. Paranoid's got his own website, which I'm scared to go on because he always has some crazy stuff over there. Do you got old boy over there right now, Paranoid?
Old boy's still on there.
Yeah. But it's paranoidamerican.com. And here's the gematria calculator, guys. So you come over here, boom. It's linked as occult decode, and you can see whatever cipher you want to look at, the different ciphers. If you want to look at English ordinal or the new pi cipher, and this is just like something you put in there just to be positive, right? Paranoid, you're amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna put Paranoid American in there, but I didn't know if everyone wanted to keep seeing the word paranoid every time they open this page up.
I like the you're amazing because that's a positive thing. So
Yep.
it's kind of weird what you're amazing equals, though.
Yeah,
When I was in all the ciphers, the 156, which is connected to 911, so I'm like, that's interesting. But it's a code, it's a source code, guys. We live in some type of a simulation. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And if you guys are interested in getting a reading and checking out on my other website, truthfultv.com, that link is down below. You come over here, you go to book online, hit that, and I'll do a breakdown on it. I'm not as good as Logan, but it's $26 and you get an email decode. It's very detailed. We go over your destiny cards, your birth cards, your life path number, what it means for you. Then I decode your gematria based on your name. So it's pretty cool. You just check availability, really easy. Pick whatever date you want. And from that date, it usually takes between 4 and 6 days until I get it sent back to you. So, it takes me a little time to put the whole thing together. And you just put your name there, email, phone number, and hit book. And when you do it, guys, you don't have to have a PayPal account. So a lot of people get that confused. Let me show you real quick. You put your message down here. This is your birth date, 1/17/1983. That's mine. And then your name. You want your full name. I don't need your middle name. Everybody always puts their middle name. Just your first and last name is all I need for the decode. Your maiden name. So if you're married, don't worry about that. Put your maiden name in there and then hit the book now. And you just check out as a guest. So it's pretty simple. And the only reason they'll need this extra information is for PayPal to make sure your card ain't stolen and stuff. You know what I mean? Boom, continue. Because believe it or not, people are always doing some crazy things. So let me see here. I just put a random one in. And boom, and that should take us to the thing. I use 26 too, guys. There's that 26 number, which I didn't know the connection to Logan just said. I use 26 because 2 + 6 is 8, and the number 8 attracts energy. It's just or money. It attracts money. It's a fact. So if you do anything for like something that's $17, right? That adds up to 8. So each 62 adds up to 8. But yeah, you just check out as a guest on there. It's pretty simple, man. You don't have to have a PayPal account. So just to let you guys know that. Stop screen share. Boom. There we go. But yeah, that 8. Do you know about like how they say that the number 8 attracts money, Logan? I think it really does though, because there's something to it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if you go study numerology, like I learned from this when I first picked up book. I read this book called Chiro's Book of Numbers, which is really how I got started in Caldian numerology. And I'm born on the 4th, so if you read that book, Chiro's Book of Numbers, he'll tell you that if you're born on the 4th or the 8th, you should stay away from the number 8.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Now these are superstitions, but there maybe is some merit to that. I just do whatever, man. I don't ever really look at stuff. People try to ask, like, should I do it on this day? Like, trust me, you're going to pick the right day. Like you don't have to consciously just sit there and figure out, like, it's just going to fall in line. And the more you get in tune with the code, the easier it's just going to be that it'll just melt into the whole code and you'll just do it.
Like I picked the 4th because of 114. I had no idea you were born on the 4th. That's pretty interesting for today's podcast. And I always do, like, even I know this is so weird. someone told me last night, Tom, you're weird as hell for doing, but every morning I wake up throughout the workday at 9:11 a.m. My alarm clock goes off. I just do things by the numbers, but I probably would do it anyways, like you said. It's but consciously I do set the alarm clock at 9:11. When my podcast goes live with Conspiracy Cinema, we do it at 9:11. I just try to put some positive educational energy back into that frequency, because they've used it it's been used in negative ways a lot too, right? With the 9/11,
Sure.
which is the number 11. And I think there's a connection to 11 with portal energy, some type of portal energy. Like on 9/11, the flight 11 hit 2 11s in the sky, 11 crew members on the plane in the 11th city, New York City, 11 letters. We invade Afghanistan, 11 letters. So there's something up with that code in the source code, with this 11.
Well, yeah, it's if you go study I don't, did I have it in my, no, it's in for my Patreons, but I'll tell all of you here. 11 is the number of sodium on the periodic table. And the word red in Caldian numerology equals 11. And that's the pill color that Neo swallows to go down into the matrix. When you study sodium alchemically and you study the electron configuration, the electron configuration of sodium is 281. And 281 is a prime number. And not only is 281 a prime number, but it's tied to Jupiter. So you have the 11 seemingly being the prison that you go down into, and then you become the number 10. And now you have, the word 10 is the same numerology as man. They're both 415 in Caldean. 10 is neon, which means Neo. So Neo goes down into sodium, which is the number 11. That's why Jesus says, ye are the salt of the earth. You go down into the, so it's all about, it's alchemy, man. It's all alchemy, numerology, alchemy, tarot. They all fit together. The calendar, all that kind of stuff. They all fit together. And when you study alchemy, man, and the electron configurations, and you study how many isotopes they have, like tin has the most stable isotopes, got 10 of them. So then you reference Greek mythology, and you can see how the stories of Zeus incarnating to become a player in the game. Many references of Jupiter incarnating to play the game. Many. The great Olympian, right? So this is where you're going to get the context of maybe the fallen angel story. My whole take is that the 50th card in the deck is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups converts into the King of Hearts. And this is the 13th card in the deck. And now you're going to get that magical number 13, which is tied to the luminary body, the 13 being the Christ, being the middle of the 12 zodiac signs.
The death card, right?
Yeah, it can be because it's spiritual death.
Positive.
Yeah, the spirit dies and it goes down into matter. You have to eliminate the spiritual self. You come down into matter. Now light slows itself down, and when light slows down, it becomes a physical form, which becomes you. So you reference, like, even you were saying how big the 63 is. Well, in theology, Genesis 6 verses 3, it clearly says there, God speaking, that my spirit shall not reside in man forever. The spirit of God inside of you. And then it goes on to say, for man shall only live to be 120. Yeah. And 120 is the weight of antimony, which is the 51st element, which is tied to the all-seeing eye in your brain.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Uh-huh.
When you was talking about alchemy, we had exactly 666 people in the live at that exact second. I screenshotted it. That's nice. Pretty great. I love seeing all the synchronicity to this reality that we live in. It's so cool, brother. And Paranoid, what did you want to show Logan and Jay with this, bro?
For anyone that's even watching, like, we were talking about comics and Loki. Why are we talking about tarot now? Well, this is Sylvie in the comic series, and she's known also as the Enchantress. It's like a whole long backstory, but this is her, and here she is doing the tarot. And it's funny that you guys kept bringing up 9/11 over and over, because if you look on the far left side, this is issue number 9, and then on the far right side, you've got these two candles which kind of have the 11, and this is And I mean, we're not just reading into tarot. Like, here's tarot, here's numerology, here's magic. This is from the Scarlet Witch series, which is another Netflix series that's probably worth breaking down and doing some occult decode. But I just wanted to ask too. Obviously, Vision and Scarlet Witch are these tarot cards that she's got, and it says Glamour and Illusion over here on the right. But do any of these representations of the tarot cards speak out as being like actual tarot cards?
June 9th too, 6/9. There's the June 9th, the same.
Yeah.
So
Same day as Loki release. Yeah.
Yep. And number 9. And I was talking in the beginning about Thor dies after 9 steps, and Odin was put on the tree for 9 days. We were talking about the 9. So just a little more synchronicity there. Go ahead, Logan. What do you see, brother?
Well, I mean, she's got the green and yellow on, right? That's that praseodymium color. That's the first color that enters into the
Gemini symbol.
The Gemini color. Yep.
Wow,
she's got some figure 8s there on her legs, representing infinity, or 0, But really, kind of, I guess the summarization of how this reality works is that what entices, like maybe this is just a vacation spot for spirit. This may be a vacation spot. I mean, there's a song by Eddie Money. It's called 2 Tickets to Paradise. And of course, the first time he ever says 2 tickets to Paradise, I've got 2 tickets to paradise, is line number 9 on the lyrics. Right? So the 9 is the great repeater number. And the number 9 is the same outcome as the sine wave. It's the same outcome. Even sine and sin are 9. Even Hebrew is 9. Sin is 9. Eve bites the apple. And sine wave is 16, and that's tied to Lucifer. So I think our whole reality is based on playing the game, and what tempts you to play the game is procreation. You're either going to have this is where you're going to get the fallen angels, like, oh, they wanted to go mate with the females that were attractive. So now you're going to get that story fitting into the box, but you're also going to have the aspect of like Elvis sang that song, Suspicious Minds, and he says, we're caught in a trap and I can't get out because I love you too much, baby. He's talking about life. Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. There's merit to that. So I just think the whole, like, the enchantment under the sea dance on Back to the Future, right? It's all, think about that. It's enticement. And we're entertainment down here. And this is exactly how I feel this reality is. You're being watched. You can go be doing the yada, yada, yada behind closed doors, but I promise you're being watched. Somebody's watching me is the truth. You're being watched. And this reality is based on chasing ass, procreation. And if you're not chasing ass, you're going to be chasing something to build. You're going to go create an empire. You're going to go create a corporation. You're going to open up a business. You're going to fall in love with it until it crashes and burns and you'll go build something else. Or maybe you won't recuperate. Right. That's our whole reality, folks. It's based on love. And love is 21 in numerology, and the world card is 21 in numerology. So this is all about coming down here and playing the game and being a character. And you're in a reality show, and you're the star of the movie. You're that star, right? Some people just they're not stars though. They're extras in somebody else's movie because you're too busy trying to, like, I'm going to go beat the system. I'm going to go fight the Jesuits and the Society of Jesus. I'm going to go get them. When you don't realize that they incarnated to play their role. And you're just giving them energy, and you're wasting your whole, I mean, not wasting it, because I know some people, I look at them and I'm like, it makes me grateful that I didn't get to have their code. I wouldn't want to have that code. Like going and fighting the system. Oh God, that must, like Alex Jones. I mean, the guy's so scripted, his whole reality. I would hate to have gotten his code. You know how much stress that guy's under? All the lawsuits. Like, that's like pins and needles, fear. You're like, oh my God, dude. And you can see it in the guy.
Hilarious. I always call him Alex.
Totally, dude. Again, if you look at it like a movie, he's so funny. He's the
ultimate warrior to me. He's the ultimate warrior of the conspiracy world.
Charlie, thank you for donating to Jay. Is that your thing, Jay? In Chelsea, I got your message, honey. So email me at this email right here. I'll put it on the screen. And anyone that needs to get a hold of me for a reading, just email me there, guys. Only use that one for it. truthmafia117@proton.me. And sorry, Logan, go ahead, brother.
Oh,
but
it's
no,
okay,
you're
man.
right. There is, you know, I was caught up in that whole thing with, at first I thought, because, you know, that's how it was taught in the Gematria community, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, this is this. And then when I started watching you, it made me realize, man, a lot of this is just a source code. You know, it's a lot of this is happening organically. But I do think there are people that know how to manipulate the energy too. If I know how to do it, they know how to do it. It's that famous saying, millionaires don't have astrologists and numerologists, billionaires do.
Yep.
You know
yeah, but I mean, once you start looking at that code, it's kind of like, okay, so let's hypothetically say that there's energy down here in this reality, and they're in the form of angels and demons, good guys and bad guys, energetically, right? And let's say that you're like this drug addict, and you're in the slums of the streets, and you're just drinking or shooting up all the time. Do you think an angel is going to be attached to you energetically? Of course not. You'd be like the demons would have their way with you, right? Right. But if you maybe you go along the way, you find some preacher, you go to church one day, you know, and you find your way back, and the preacher gets you to clean your act up, and you quit the drugs, and you get back on your feet. And next thing you know, the demon that's running you is like, I have no use for this dude anymore. So he's like, okay, well, you know what, angels, you take them. And now they get their turn at now controlling that person through the strings. And I feel like there's a lot of merit to this entire example here. So this goes in line with us as decoders. It's like when you wake up from the realization that whatever created this reality is the boss of all things. It's a Ponzi scheme. The whole thing is a Ponzi scheme.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, Ponzi scheme equals 53 in numerology. That's tied to Jupiter. Jupiter's tied to I make peace and create evil. So if you're a fan of theology, well, it's Ra, and it looks like it's Jupiter that leads the way. But it has its henchmen, which is the angels and demons. And because I mean, you go study the Society of Jesus, like I did. I went and studied the history of that organization. And when you go study the history of the organization, they would take you up in the caves of their monastery or whatever, and they would teach you that there are angels and demons that are running this reality. That's what they would teach you if you go study it.
Did
now,
you
I'm not
see,
saying it.
There was also a thing they would do that they would like reprogram the person. Did you ever see that in the they would do like some type of hypnosis to them for 3 days. Yeah, I'll send you a link to this research. It's fascinating, bro. I'm like, what type of mind control is going on there? You know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But so they taught that in it that you would there's angels and demons running it, which are probably the archons, right?
Well, I mean, you could definitely correlate that to the archons. You know, you could correlate it to being one source, getting all the energy. But at the same time, you know, like think about it. So now if we have all these people that are essentially waking up, and you're starting to see that we live in a predestined reality, and you have all these options, yes, but you don't have a choice in the matter. Like you got to be a human being. So you have to play the game at some degree. But we here, all of us, we have like minds. We're decoding the source code, and we're essentially, we are taking all these mystical art platforms, astrology, numerology, personality types, enneagram, the cards, the codes, symbols, letters, numbers, whatever you fancy, and you're bringing them all together. And I think that's why I say we're all decoding ourselves home. Once we reach a certain point in the timeline, an explosion will happen because you're just condensing all the material into one. And this is maybe where you're going to get into Philip K. Dick's book called Minority Report, where you move into a perfected society. So the perfected society, the paradise that's talked about in the Bible, just maybe a digital one. I mean, they're already doing it now. I mean, look at the images, Tommy, that you've created. Your damn art is off the hook. Right? You're just typing in and it's creating it for you, but you're the brains behind the code. You're telling the code what to do, and then the code is operating through your mindset. So it's essentially, that's the lineage of it.
Could this be like Solomon, like summoning the demons to do the work?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And so and that daemons is the computer code, right? That play off in the distance. If you study computer code and how it works, that's where demon and daemon come into play. But right now people think about it, man. Instagram, you don't know what you're looking at, man. Girls can enhance this. They can shave this, take the wrinkles out, put different hair colors in, eyes, shrink their ass.
We've transcended gender at this point.
Yeah. But I mean, you can make yourself perfect in a photograph now. That's moving towards a perfect society. This is Minority Report. So Minority Report was the crime prevention unit, and the crime prevention unit was preventing crimes. How would you do that? Well, you would take all these layers that we're using as decoders, you'd put them into a computer, and it would spit out the simulation on exactly how things would turn out in the future. And they may have already been doing this for a long time. They just don't tell anybody about it. But now people are catching on. Now we're like, oh, I see how this whole thing works. And when you get too close to God, when you get to the Tower of Babel, boom, the explosion happens, the reset happens, and then everybody gets scattered over the earth. And if you're one of those that make it through whatever's going to happen, personally, I feel like it's going to be fire this time, not water. You're going to have fire raining down from the heavens, man. And if you're one of the ones that gets to be fortunate enough to make it through that, well, you know, what is that going to look like? Maybe you don't want to make it through.
No, yeah. I don't know if I want to make it through that. And I think that's what Jay's theory is too. This one's going to end in fire, and we're going to break down the knowing. And I just want to, for people in the comments, I just want to say, look, guys, whatever religion you are, we respect it. No one attacks your religion. If Jesus makes you a better person, that's awesome. If Allah makes you a better person, that's awesome. No one.
If the spaghetti monster makes you a better person.
I love the idea, though. We were talking about like rainbows and stuff earlier. Like the rainbow is God's promise to not drown everybody again, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, loophole. I can use like hellfire from the sky. You know, technically, it's not drowning.
Yeah, it's just that factory reset, the wiping of the board, like Logan said before, and we're coming to it. A computer, you get to a point to where it's gotta, you know, you get all these bugs and parasites on it, or what do they call it in the computer term?
Virus, Trojan horse.
Or just bugs, because it's human created. And like Logan was talking about the precogs essentially in Minority Report, and they were perfect essentially. It was that human beings came in and they sort of, you know, screwed the process up by injecting their own code or making it, you know, giving like false positives. And it always reminds me of the Prometheus too, right? Like the humanity is given the actual pure source, and then we just go and gunk it up by like trying to bootleg it, right? We always want to make like the cheaper, better, faster version of it, and it screws us in the end.
No,
well, dude, even Miss Minutes in Loki, forgot to mention her, but that was played by the voiceover was, her name's Tara Strong, and she was born on February 12th, 212. 212 is the sublimation of water into a gas, so there's transmutation there. And she was born on the 43rd day of the year, and the 43rd element on the periodic table is called technetium, which means artificial. Yeah. I mean, how do they cast these people to get these connections like this? That's what I want to know. I know what goes into casting, man. I lived in Hollywood. I've been around. I've been to casting calls. I know what goes into this shit. It's not that simple, folks. To cast these people, like I broke down, when you break down Keanu Charles Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss, which I broke down in my Zeus code on my Patreon, that'll blow your mind. That was probably the mind blown decode out of all of them on my Patreon. The Zeus code decoded clearly, and I was using the 3.144 cipher. You know, Zeus is 24 in that cipher. They came out with the matrix on March 24th. Zeus is 24. Jupiter's 24 in the 3.144 cipher. They come out with the matrix on March 24th. Remember, Jesus is 24 in the Greek. Jesus, where the original Greek spelling of it in the New Testament is 24. I know a lot of people say, oh, no, it's Yeshua. But folks, go study your Bible, man. There is no miracles in the Old Testament. There is no healing of leprosy in the mirror. There's no mention of Jesus anywhere in the Old Testament. Joshua is not Jesus.
Oh, did they say that in the Gnostic culture or something? That Joshua is Jesus, right? In the Gnostic culture, I
That's what
believe.
they say. Yeah, that's what they say. But there's clearly that there's a defining moment of the Old and New Testament, because when Jesus came on the scene in the context of the story of the New Testament, there was nobody getting hanged. There's nobody getting killed in the Old Testament. It was all a much different story. So to me, the Christ came on in the New Testament. And then why the New Testament? Because it means order. The Old Testament is chaos, then order, but they're owned by the same boss.
And in Logan, real quick, brother, with that whole 69 connection to when this released on June 9th, and then the comic book, right? And you showed the 69 trapped in the matrix of 69 in Caldian. And then the reflection of 69 is tumbling down the rabbit hole in that 50 number that you brought. This is my boy Eyes to See Decode. Shout out, he does decoding on Truth. He's a big fan of yours, obviously, as you can tell. Huge fan of yours, brother. But yeah, he's on truthmafia.com. And then Life is But a Dream, 50, Flesh Prison, 50, Fallen Elohim, 50, Tree of Death. So man, it's crazy when you look into that code. There's something with it. I mean,
there's something with it for sure. I mean, again, we're moving into a stage of cryptocurrency now. A lot of people don't want to accept that. It's clear that with these ages are just movies. The movie's changing. The movie's changing. So like, you don't have to like it. You can get mad at it. You can get angry at it, but you should be rejoicing because the movie's about to change.
Jay's movie's about to come on. Jay's movie.
Yeah, new movie.
Come on. It's called The Plasma Apocalypse. That's the movie that's coming on next. Yeah. I think we're moving into it.
Got to get through it though,
Yeah. And Logan, when you started out, you used to get in, didn't you used to look into pole shift and stuff?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, when I was kind of asleep, I was this pole shift, I was following Alex Jones. I was like, I thought he was a big hoot, man, because he's funny, dude. I laugh at how mad he gets. He's just so in character. I love it.
I like to decode him because I like the source code connected to him. So it's funny to decode him. And then you get all of his fans watching the video. And when I'll play him, they'll be like, oh, yeah, they think I'm playing him because I'm a fan. But really, I'm just decoding him, looking at, because he does make me laugh.
Oh, dude, he cracks me the hell up.
He's hilarious. What do you think about him being Bill Hicks? Do you think there's a connection to that?
Yeah, I mean, there may be, but I mean, then you can get into cloning and, I mean, who knows? There's no way to prove it. It's fun to talk about.
It's fun to talk about, yeah.
I feel like it's an insult to Bill Hicks a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Because Alex Jones certainly ain't no comedian. Well, he is in his own way, being realistic. But Bill Hicks.
Yeah, but I mean, if anyone that actually cares, there's a stand-up with Alex Jones opened for Doug Stanhope. I think it was in Austin.
Oh, is that
20
right?
Years ago. If you go on YouTube and just search Alex Jones, Doug Stanhope, and the man does not know how to warm up a crowd for a stand-up, comedy act. I don't, unless that's part of the act of like transitioning into Alex Jones, is like to pretend like you don't know. I don't know, but I do feel like it's a dig at Bill Hicks, because Bill Hicks is like a god essentially.
Oh, he's amazing.
He was hilarious. He died at 33. Funny. That Christ number. And so Jay, what do you think about the whole code connected to the plasma apocalypse thing, brother? Because I know you're just getting familiar with all the Gematria stuff, right?
I've been familiar with it. I just not my thing. I'm more of like a images kind of person than a numbers person,
Yeah, you do.
It reminds me too much of math homework, man. It makes me scared.
Yeah.
Paranoid does the images too, but that's why it's such a great combo, me and him. And the last video me and you did, people loved it. If you go look at the comments, and I think it's that balance, I look into the number, you look into the symbolism of it, and it makes a good balance of a video. But there's definitely, I believe, something up with it. Just like how the symbols have a specific energy attached to them, there's no doubt the number does too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like earlier, Paranoid was asking about the tarot cards or whatnot. To me, everything is a tarot card. To me personally, everything you can, it's divination, and you don't need cards to do divination, just like you don't need bones, or you don't need dice, or you can use anything to divine, because it's all connected. So all you have to do is read the code or listen to the frequency or know the tune. I mentioned in my chat earlier, to know the tune, to recognize the connection in all things, and especially the quintessential and the things that go back to the beginnings, right? How can you know the end? How can we even speak on the end if we haven't re-examined the beginning? You know, if the beginning, like in academics, if the beginning is just all unknown and, you know, a bunch of bland, vague, gibberish garbage of reaching for straws, there's no way you could talk about the apocalypse. You know what I mean? Mathematically, you can't talk about the end of the world unless you have all of the elements of the initial conditions of the beginning of the world, which is chaos theory. You know what I mean? It's the butterfly effect. So the world, thankfully, provides us with the information. The world is made out of the information, as are we all. And I believe that, you know, some are for tapping into it. Some are for driving shopping carts. Some are for dropping their kids off at school. Some are for many things. And like with the movie Loki, like Paranoid at the beginning is like, I don't believe in the fractal verse or the multiverse. I almost got mad. Like,
Me too.
I'm like,
but that's paranoid. That's what he does.
I know
better
the minority,
be one.
especially in the comic world too. I'm like,
he's
I don't know,
a
man.
skeptic.
I don't fit in. I don't fit in the comic world either.
He
Well, let me
always
share-
looks at it from a different angle, man. That's what I love about him, though. Honestly,
I have a similar theory. I call it the fractal verse. To me, it's fractal, so it's very much close to like what Logan was talking about earlier, with like the fractal or holographic nature of things. And for me, it's the quote unquote universe. Like, well, let me give you an example of like my own personal cosmology, because it's really fun. True or not, it's super fun. Like this, it connects everything. But so if you look, we have a dome above a firmament above this. There's a solid sky up there, and then beyond that is the concept that academics teaches is called space, or other realms beyond, and what lies beyond our realm or our local realm. We have our local area on the cosmic tree. Our local area is our local branch is Yggdrasil, or our local branch in the mind of God. So if you imagine space as being a brain, actual space brain, then we live in the neurons, or within or on the neurons of that brain. Those neurons provide pathways or conduits to transfer information from one hub to another hub. And we're like the Who's, who are we? Because nobody knows about us because we're so tiny. But we're also grand, because on the inside of us lies the exact same model that we lie inside of, which is fractal in nature. So for example, you could zoom into my mind and you could find space, the world. I didn't mean to like low key insult myself just now. You know what I mean? Space brain.
Quantumania, that movie you was talking about with Ant-Man. What was it called?
Quantumania.
Yeah, Quantumania, that little realm where everybody was tiny, remember?
Yeah, that's the Micronauts. There's a comic book that's called the Micronauts. They weren't allowed to use that when they made that movie, but that's what it's all about. Is the tiny people that live inside of a much larger reality that to them they can't really perceive it because it's the macrocosm above them. That's us right now. We're both the Micronauts living tiny as the Who's inside of the mind of God, or the mind of an entity or a construct or a program, or however people want to refer to it as. But we also have those same things fractally and holographically living in us, which echoes the ancient proverb, Jesus quoted in the Bible from the Old Testament that says that ye are gods. So how can you believe in a God or higher self or cosmic entity or whatnot, and also be one, and also have them inside of you? Because they also in turn would be gods themselves. Anyways, my point is, I didn't mean to like ramble. to me, it's all connected and it's fractal. So we live in a fractal verse. If we ascend and we go upwards, everything is grand. It's on a larger scale in comparison with our mesocosm that we're used to. If we shrink down and we go downwards, then we become the macrocosm as we enter down into the microcosm, and we become fractal verse travelers, traveling within ourselves in order to explore ourselves so that we can get to know ourselves and find ourselves, which ends it all or starts it all. Like for me, that's the purpose, is experience and experiencing yourself, which is everything, which is, the tarot cards are showing us the connection in everything and how it's all connected. It's vibration and frequency, and that can't be broke. It's all connected to something else. Every single thing is physically, actually connected to everything, and therefore it's all one thing.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. And Jay, we're about to wrap it up. We did 3 hours, and it's just cool that we can all come here, share ideas together. Even people have different opinions, but we can talk about it. And Jay, I gotta hire your moderator, Kimberly. I don't know if you know, bro. She does a phenomenal job for you. I was watching her last night during your podcast you were doing, and she's on point, bro. Always sharing your links, welcoming your people. I'm always scared to put someone as a moderator because they have the ability to block people and stuff like that. So it freaks me out. I've never made no one a moderator ever. But I think I need to employ one, maybe.
I hand those out like candy, bro. I think
you're
the moderator.
You don't know the power, dude. They can block someone from your channel. You know that? Yeah. I'm too scared to.
Wasn't that just destined to be though?
I mean, I guess it must have been.
I after every one of my live streams, I personally watch and reread the entire chat, so I get to know everyone. I might not be, people might think they're slipping things past me or that I don't notice or whatever, but every live stream from the time I started my channel to today, I go rewatch and I'm right there in the chat with everybody. Yeah, so that's when I personally am weeding through the tares in the wheat or whatever, and I'm like, that person's gone, that person's cool. After I get to know their names and I get used to seeing them in the chat and stuff. So I personally hand select people. Not always, sometimes I jump the gun or whatever, but that's how I did it. I personally handle it. That's why I really like my little community. Or it's not
got a cool community. Logan's got a good moderator too. He's awesome as hell. Steve, he's a good
Steven and Pamela, yeah.
Yeah, they're really awesome. So, I got some people I think I can trust. I just always been scared to do it, honestly. It's nothing personally against my people. I just am like, man, they got the power to block people and stuff. So it's always freaked me out. But I definitely need to get some. And I just want to thank all you guys for coming on today. This was one of my old favorite podcasts was They Live. Now I think it's this one. This one was awesome. And man, it was a good time. So Logan, I appreciate you coming. Are you back down in where you live now?
Yeah, I'm in Mexico, but I'm going to be leaving again at the end of the month. So,
what made you go down there, Logan, to Mexico? Is it nice down there?
Yeah. I like warm weather, man. I don't like cold. So that was one of the big draws. I'm 2 blocks from the beach here.
And people say, oh, you go to Mexico, Americans will get kidnapped. None of that's true, is it?
I mean, it happens everywhere in the world. So, I mean, it's not just this area,
Yeah, right. You've been to Miami? I mean,
I mean, it's happening everywhere. So, I mean, it's not what you think. Yeah, it's not what people think.
It's not real quick in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go down to Mexico. I've never been there. I heard it's beautiful. Did your area get hit by that storm that happened?
No, that was on the west side. That was Acapulco. That was on the west. I'm on the tip. I'm by Cancun, Playa del Carmen there. That was on the west side, southwest.
Oh, thank God.
Acapulco.
Yeah, I thought of you when it happened. I'm like, man, I hope Logan's all right down there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, that was on the south side, south side. So, yep.
Well, guys, everybody in the comment, we still got 707 people in here.
What platform are you talking about? I must be I'm on the YouTube one, which is not that many, but which one are you?
We got to go on to 3 Facebooks, 2 YouTube,
wow.
Jay's YouTube. Yeah, there's 705 people in here right now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
this time here. I just screenshotted it, and the most we were at was 1,000 during the podcast. So yeah, that's some really good numbers. Yeah, we're streaming it to my YouTube, Jay's YouTube, both of my Facebook accounts, which my one, I just did a video, bro, on cloning the other day, and it went viral. It's at 700,000 views overnight.
Pruning?
Yeah, 700,000 views on Truth Mafia Facebook. I'm at, I
You
think,
said cloning.
Cloning? Oh,
Yeah,
cloning.
And right now I just got like 25,000 new subscribers, dude, overnight. So yeah, it's almost
Wow.
it's almost to like 80,000 or something on there now, 90,000, I forget. But yeah, it's
Hey, you
a
know
lot.
what I wonder?
Here's the
I wonder,
number
like,
here. That's a screenshot. 700 and whatever that is, 700 and something. So pretty good. It's 692 now, but yeah,
That's awesome.
not too bad. Pretty good live.
I wonder if there's a limit. Like, you ever think about that? I wonder if there's a number where you've got too many followers, where like you will get cut off just for having the ears of so many people. Like, would you rather be the president of the United States and have the attention of whoever likes the president, or would you rather, be Mr. Beast, who can talk to freaking everybody? You know what I mean? He's got like the attention of the whole world, and people tune in and care more about what the talking heads say on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, he has more followers than any president ever. And
that's pretty powerful.
Like, what about that dude PewDiePie? Remember him? He's like a gamer.
Guys, let's not forget, we're talking about the most popular president in history that got the most votes in all of history. Let's not discount that.
Yeah,
Biden is incredibly popular.
And he has two chins now. No, we're joking. He has two chins now, too. When you seen him go to Israel, Biden now has two chins. That's pretty interesting. I don't like him or Trump. I never liked any president.
He's going for that Spartacus look.
Yeah. Anything about the Spartacus look, and his skin's falling off his neck. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that dude. I don't know. Did the real guy pass away? Who's under the mask? I don't know. But like I said, they use that as to divide us too, left and right, Republican, Democrat. It's the same show. It's the same game, man. I don't buy into none of it. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Biden fan. They're both. They probably give each other slow jacks and ball rubs behind the scenes. So I don't like neither one of them. But yeah, Biden's definitely something's weird going on with that guy right now. If you look at his face, and with
that Biden going on, man.
Yeah, he's got that Biden going on his chin. With that being said, that's what we're going to sign off on. So hit them likes, guys. 3 hours and 1 minute 31. The Matrix.
My style.
Yeah. Love y'all. Do you guys got anything you want to plug before we go?
Oh, I do, man. I got 400 pounds of comics that showed up in my driveway today. So
what?
You can't see them. Yeah, right now they've all got these nice little perforated like protectors so that the covers don't get messed up. But like,
nice.
Yeah, like you just rip off the back right here. But here, for example, here's Secret Mystery School 1. I just got a brand new print edition of almost every one of my books. So you can get them all now.
A new video too. It's really good. Well, he probably did it a month ago, knowing Juan. He always puts stuff out, and then it's like a month old. But he did a really good one I just put up on truthmafia.com. You guys can check it out. It's pretty fascinating. His new one is Juan on Juan podcast, the Illuminati formula used to create undetectable mind control. And he put all the words together too. It was very bizarre. I think he did that so the algorithm doesn't connect what he's talking about. But yeah, you got that on paranoidamerican.com, that comic book. He's got the chemtrail comic books. He's got a little figure we can't show you of Biden.
Yeah, it's right here. No,
don't show that guy. That scares me. He's got Hunter Biden with his shirt off with a red scarf wrapped around his neck, standing in his underwear. And
it's right here, but I won't show it. But it's behind this comic.
That's funny.
But you can see it on paranoidamerican.com. It's called the Hunter Biden Party Pack.
Yeah, guys, it's worth going and checking just to laugh. Just to laugh. I mean, it's everything that was allegedly leaked on that laptop. So Paranoid American, his mind is something else. The stuff he comes up with, it's just crazy. The merch, it's really cool. And Logan, do you got yours is cosmicsugar.org, right? Your website?
Yeah, for readings and the Patreon for exclusive decodes.
And the Patreon is Decode Your Reality.
Yeah, if you just type in Google Decode Your Reality Patreon, it's the only one. It'll pull it up. Okay. I don't know that it's like, yeah, I don't know the number. They gave me a Jupiter number. I mean, like I said, I just look at the code. It's Decode Your Reality /543. 543 is tied to Jupiter. I didn't pick that. The whole thing's crazy. The whole reality, man. The whole reality is you got to be an insane person to live in this world.
You got a tattoo of a phoenix on you, dude?
I got 5 of them all over my arms. This was before I even woke up.
He's got the phoenix all over him, bro.
Yeah, I got the phoenix all over me. Yeah, dude. My high school mascot was the tiger. That's Jupiter. Like a month ago, I started drinking. I found this video on right around when I decoded the Matrix, which led me to Jupiter and Jupiter Ascending by the Wachowskis because they had that movie come out.
Awesome.
I found this video by this guy, Cali Muscle, this bodybuilder guy. And he's like, yeah, I did this 30-day watermelon fast. And I was like, oh, I like watermelon and I can get it 24/7 here. So I started drinking watermelon. Of course, watermelon is the striped fruit, which looks just like Jupiter. And it's red, and Neo took the red pill. So I started on this watermelon kick, and I'm like, okay, I didn't plan that. And then I went into the Matrix, and I decoded the Matrix with the 3.144 cipher, created that, found all these, the Matrix and the 3.144 cipher is 35. I was born on the 35th day of the year. The 35th card is Keanu Charles Reeves' birth card. And it's just ridiculous, man. And I'm like, what's running this reality is a stand-up comedian because it's just funny to me.
Well, you got that Matrix code within this simulation. I always tell people there's different characters. Some people are not. I believe a lot of these people are non-player characters too, dude. Like, I don't know what's up with them, but when you decode them, their birth cards don't line up. Like, I found this weird connection with what our birth cards are lining up with life path numbers. Like, I'm a life path number 3. My birth card is the Hangman and the Empress, which the Hangman is 12. 1 + 2 is 3. It all comes back to the 3. Thomas is a 3-2 Paranoid American. He has the same. He actually has the World card, which is 21, right? And the Empress. So he has one different card than me, but mine and his coding is almost identical. And we didn't plan to become co-host. It just happened. It's so weird, bro. And then Jay's coding is connected too. I anytime I do a reading on Donut, or like I just did one on Juan, and then I asked the girl, I said, how did you find me? Did you find me through Juan? Because she said, yeah. I said, I knew it because Juan has the same numbers attached to him as she did. It's like, whoa, man, what is going on here? Yeah. It's really interesting to see all them connections. I think it's just so cool. And Jay, do you got anything, brother, that you would like to plug? I put your membership stuff in the description. I got to update it with Logan's website too.
I want to plug the people, all you good people out there. Be inspired.
There you go.
So that's all I got.
Plug every single one of you.
I do this for other people. You know what I mean? I assume you guys do too. Yeah. I love you guys. I care about all of you. Many of you piss me off and irritate me, but I freaking always hope until the very end for everybody. So
until plasma starts raining from the sky, then you're on your own. Anybody else?
Love you all until hellfire rains down.
Until plasma comes, you're on your own, man.
Until plasma comes and rains down, but hey, at least Jay educated you on what's to come. So get prepared for it. When the power goes out and they try to tell you it's an EMP, it's probably not.
If you see Jay running, follow him.
yeah. If you don't do a YouTube video in a couple weeks, get out, bug out. So with that being said, guys, we love y'all. And now we're ending at 3:08. Look at that, how that manifested. So we're out, guys. Hit that like button. Go subscribe to all these great gentlemen here.